like the breakfast crunch wrap. Fluffy eggs, melty cheese, sausage, crispy hash browns, wrapped in a warm tortilla. Or, as some call it, a breakfast crunch thing. Grab one today, only at Taco Bell. At participating U.S. Taco Bell stores during breakfast hours only until 11 a.m. while supplies last. Contact local store for hours and participation, which vary.
The Early Game with Bill Gunter and Jen Jensen.
You will not see me watching anything that's really scary or might make me cry, because I figure there's nothing in life that can make me cry. So I'm more of the Tommy Boy, Austin Powers, like if it's that kind of silly, dumb.
Former Gamecock Preston Thorne.
Shawshank is uplifting at the end, but it takes you through it for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't want to get that emotion. I have the emotional roller coaster working with Bill in the mornings. So yeah, I need a release.
3 days in, you see where this program's going.
On your home of the Gamecocks, 107.5 The Game.
Get up, shake off that Valentine's hangover, all those candy hearts that your significant other uses to teach you to read. Or in our case yesterday, how Jen tried to teach us to read by giving us the candy hearts that were mass produced in 1912 that say, thinking of you, or kiss me, or
you're a winner.
You're a winner. Yes. All those great candy hearts that make you feel better about yourself. Not your stomach, of course, after you eat them, but just give you a general good vibe. Shake it off. We are on to the back half of February. Am I the only one this year at this point is just flying? January normally feels like it takes forever, and it feels like this year is absolutely flying by at this point.
Off to the races. This one's, as it tends to do, it's going by faster and faster, it seems like. Rolling downhill.
It is. Before you know it, we will be fully engulfed in March Madness. Probably not going to involve South Carolina's men's basketball team. We'll be fully engulfed in college baseball. South Carolina's baseball team set to get going here now in just over 6 hours. Tack on another 4, so that's a 10, and throw that together with about 48. So we'll just call it 60 hours to be on the safe side. 60 hours away, less than 60 hours away for the start of South Carolina baseball season. And then before you know it, we'll be back into football season. And that's kind of where we start this morning. I'm trying to consume the information that Mike Bobo, who I liked as an offensive coordinator, by the way. I think it's an old school approach. I thought it actually fit Will Muschamp well. I think if Will Muschamp had found a way, of course, Mike Bobo was coaching at Colorado State, so that didn't necessarily mean to work. But I think if Will Muschamp had found a way to get Mike Bobo on his staff early in his tenure, and they had been able to mesh the ideas that they have, I think maybe Will Muschamp as a head coach works a lot better than Will Muschamp, head coach of 2-8 football team. But maybe I'm wrong. But now Mike Bobo is the offensive coordinator for Georgia. Will Muschamp, former South Carolina head coach, is the defensive coordinator for Georgia. Travaris Robinson, former defensive coordinator for South Carolina and defensive backs coach, is coaching at Alabama. Eric Wolford's former offensive line coach for South Carolina is coaching at Alabama. Joe Cox, former wide receivers coach, I believe might have been former tight ends coach, is coaching at Alabama. Brian McClendon, former wide receivers coach at South Carolina, is coaching at Alabama. I believe Coleman Hutzler is at Alabama. You see a pattern there that's very odd.
I do. I see a pattern, and it leads me to a conclusion. If you have some talent, you become a good coach.
Okay.
There you go.
If you don't have talent, all of a sudden you might struggle a little bit as a coach. And so I'm wondering why they pay the coaches so much money if it's just about
getting talent.
That's a good point.
It's really, there's so many parts to this Mike Bobo story that came out yesterday. As Todd Monken leaving to go to the Baltimore Ravens. I want your take on. There's so many things. I just, as a football player, knowing all aspects of it, from going from Monken's system to Mike Bobo, who is more of a let's get the fullback in there.
That's the first thing I said. all of a sudden some fullback jumped off the recruiting board. It's like, we got to have more fullbacks.
Yeah.
Let's go. Hey, Kirby, we need 5 more fullbacks in this class.
If you were a fullback in the Southeast, you just went, yes. All right. Georgia's. What I'm fascinated by from your perspective, we'll get into this a little bit this morning from a big picture perspective, is coaches coming in and trying to take over systems. You got into it a little bit yesterday, I think, talking about Charlie Strong to Rick Minter and how much it affects an offensive or defensive side of the ball when a new coach comes in. We'll see that with Dow Loggins this year. We'll get into a little bit. Where I want to go to is, if you're a South Carolina fan and you were one of those people that was ready to burn everything down in December because Shane Beamer went and got Dow Loggins, but now if you're a Georgia fan, you think we're the number 1 team in the country. We should be able to go hire any offensive coordinator we want, and we go with a guy who we already didn't like from years ago. I mean, look,
it's you again.
Yeah, it's like showing back up. Really, you're who got sent. Because Georgia fans were ready for Mike Bobo to be shipped out of town. It's a fascinating glimpse, not just into the Georgia football program, but Preston, it's a fascinating glimpse into college football. And when you see Nick Saban go out and hire what I'll call is a retread coach in Kevin Steele, and now you see Kirby Smart go out and hire what is a retread coach in Mike Bobo. And those are the 2 eminent programs in this country. Those are the 2 programs everybody aspires to be. And Kirby Smart has moved his way up the ladder, and it's now just a matter of, can he win enough championships to be on the same pedestal of Nick Saban? The question I have is, like, when you see that's how those 2 programs are running it, maybe you just summed it up. Is it strictly as, all right, all that it comes down to is we have to recruit great players, and then everything else falls out. We could have HR huff and puff and stuff running the offense, but if I've got great players, we're going to be successful.
Before I go into the tirade, I will echo your sentiments and say that I liked Bobo as an offensive coordinator when he was here at South Carolina. I did. I thought he had a really intuitive running game. They did some really cool things as far as with the fullback. Again, that might be towards my old school sensibilities, but I really thought it was successful. And it had a chance to be a lot better. Full stop, end of sentence. If I was a Georgia fan right now, I would have to be asking, can we not do something different? Can we not do something better? Can we not be a little bit more creative? Because doing more of the same thing, and this gets me into my whole concept about the hiring process in general. Are you going to tell me that Kirby Smart went out and vetted other offensive coordinators before he just landed on his homeboy? Before he just said, oh, you know what, Mike? We've been together. I love you. You my guy. We played ball in college. Let me just hire you. There's no way that there was any type of vetting process, interview process, or any type of research into finding another candidate. And same for Alabama. And that's how you get all of these retread coaches. It's ridiculous to say that. I've always said that there's more. This is not I've always said. This is a statement. There's more good coaches than there are good jobs. There are plenty of coaches around the country who are capable of being really good at coaching. The idea that you can just go back and get fired from one SEC program and bounce to another one, get fired from this one, bounce to another one, and it doesn't matter how well you do at any place, and you just get a job there because you're my guy. I think that's a very telling about the process of hiring. So that's sort of that's my overall big picture as far as this. Will it work? Of course it's going to work because Bobo is a good offensive coordinator. He's fine. He might not be sexy, but he's okay. And they have all the talent in the world. So yeah, it's going to work. So, but that's not what we're judging on.
We'll get into this a little bit today. Again, it's not so much just about, all right, well, here's what Georgia's doing. It's kind of that big picture of both Alabama and Georgia, and here's what they've done. And then I kind of loop it back into, I mean, those are not hires. You like those hires if you're an Alabama fan or a Georgia fan because you go, hey, our head coach is one of the 2 best coaches in the country in Nick Saban and in Kirby Smart. And you go, And I don't like it, but if that's who they hire, I believe in them, right? Like you just said, Mike, you could do a lot worse than Mike Bobo.
And I want to make sure that I'm very clear about that because I'm going to trash the rest of the process. But again, I like Bobo as a coordinator here, and you could do worse, as you said, than Bobo.
I really thought with Shane Beamer when the ability to overcome the Mike Bobo situation and look, we now know what happened with Marcus Satterfield. We know it's an interesting 25 game sample size with Marcus Satterfield because of 23 game. Well, I shouldn't say 23, but about 20 of those games left you really scratching your head. And there's about 3 games where you go, okay, I can kind of see it. And then there's 2 games where you go, wow, all right, that's what it was supposed to be. Yeah, I got it. But I thought Mike Bobo at South Carolina with Shane Beamer was going to be a really good fit where Bobo could kind of do his own thing and they were still set up at that time. I thought that was a blow early on in Shane Beamer's tenure, even though a lot of people had seen enough and really despised how the Colin Hill, Ryan Helinski, Luke Doty situation all kind of played out. But I thought it was a good move with him. You're right. Bottom line, Georgia's going to be fine. Georgia's still got a boatload of 5-star players that they can go to. They've got running backs galore. They're going to run the football effectively. It is an interesting more discussion on what the elite coaches in the game are doing. And I'm not making a joke here, but then you got Dabo Swinney who's going out and getting the kind of the hot shot name in Garrett Riley, right? You got Clemson who's now trying to get back to the top, and you've got Dabo going out. So, and then you tie all that in, and we'll see what Shane Beamer did with Dow Loggins. We'll learn. I mean, the good news is they played North Carolina to start the season. You can't come out with a vanilla game plan against Eastern Illinois or Georgia State right off the bat. You've got your quarterback back who conceivably could be a Heisman candidate or will probably be at least drawing some mention in the top 10. You got a wide receiver who's going to be kind of promoted very heavily. You've got some offensive linemen, as we talked about with J.C. Sherbert. So the good news for South Carolina fans, at the end of the day on September 2nd, when South Carolina and North Carolina finish playing, I think you're going to go, okay, I like what that Dow Loggins guy can do. I think this fits. And you're not waiting for week number 2 against Furman to say, well, what's the offensive game plan really look like? You better bring your fastball on September 2nd when South Carolina plays North Carolina. So we'll get into all that because it is interesting when you look around, you see Alabama and Georgia doing it. You see Clemson doing it. You see how Shane Beamer did it. We'll discuss that if you want to weigh in this morning. 803-404-6100 is how you can do that. Of course, we'll talk a little basketball as well. Last night, it was more of the same at Colonial Life Arena. It was more of the same in front of a very, very, very understandably small because of Valentine's in the 6:30 tip.
Shout out to my guy Kev Roche who said nothing says love like Colonial Life on
that's one of the rip the Band-Aid off first date type things. All right, if she can deal with this, she can deal with pretty much anything. And last night, if you made it to start to finish, South Carolina did fight back in the second half. They were down 38-18 in the first half, and if you showed up for the second half, you were pleased with the result. South Carolina outscored Vanderbilt 46-37 in the second half, but they take a 75-64 loss to a Vanderbilt team that's kind of getting hot at the right time. They've won 4 straight. They're now 7-6 in conference, 14-12. Gamecocks dropped to 9-17 overall, 2-11 in conference. But I know where the questions are going to go again today. A lot of G.G. Jackson talk, and this is now going to, I think, unfortunately develop into a story.
It has to.
Over the last 5 games and not the right way. 15 minutes last night, 1 of 7 from the field. Let's just start. We'll get into the stats. 1 of 7 from the field, 0 of 6 from three-point range, 1 rebound, 2 points. It is something that's going to have to be discussed because also there's a body language issue that is taking place. There is some disconnect now between G.G., it looks like, and his teammates and his coach. We'll talk with Preston about that. It's not a great, let's just go with not a great situation. 803-404-6100. So we'll cover some football today. We'll get into a little bit of the basketball. We'll talk also about an athletic article from Andy Staples that is really interesting, I think, on 2 standpoints. One, who he had South Carolina playing as his 3 permanent opponents in the upcoming schedule for the SEC, but also the concept of who is dictating the schedule. I want to get Preston's thoughts on how the SEC is about to do their schedule and who should have more say in how that schedule is done and what the permanent opponents are. So we'll get into a lot of that this morning. Again, if you want to be a part of the program, 803-404-6100, 803-404-6100, or you can weigh in on our live stream. Go to youtube.com, search 1075 The Game, click join, subscribe, be a part there. A lot to do this morning. You're listening to the early game on 1075 The Game.
Got something to say?
Ring us up on the Love Chevy phone line. South Carolina's #1 volume Chevy dealer.
At 803-404-6100.
Your home of the Gamecocks. 1075 The Game.
Thank y'all for tuning in early. I'm here with Absolute Glass, the premier glass company of the Midlands, offering auto, home, and business glass repair. If your glass is damaged, shattered, cracked, or broken, they can handle the job. They'll come to you and they'll give you a free quote for any job. Cracked windshield? No problem. They'll come out to your location and they'll replace it to you for free. And they'll work directly with your insurance company to take away the headache. If you're looking to increase the value of your home with new windows and mirrors, Absolute Glass will come out and take care of all of that for you. Windows, mirrors, showers, enclosures. As I've said on the radio before, and I'll say it again, if you can see through it, Ray and Marianne at Absolute Glass can do it. Check them out online at absoluteglassinc.com. That's online at absoluteglassinc.com.
This is Boomer Esiason with the CBS Sports Minute. New Arizona head coach Jonathan Gannon enjoyed a good 2-year run as Philadelphia's defense coordinator for sure. After coming ever so close to a ring on Sunday, he now inherits the NFL's worst situation. Oft-injured quarterback Kyler Murray is part of a toxic locker room culture. The division is tough, and a mixed-up roster equals lots of losses. Caleb Williams in your future? That's the silver lining. I'm Boomer Esiason. CBS Sports Radio.
Is your check engine light on? Let our professional parts people scan and diagnose the problem for free. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
By now, you know that sound. It's the sound of the Home Depot. But what about those sounds? Those are the sounds of a new Samsung laundry set with extra large capacity, serving up a powerful yet gentle clean in just 28 minutes, making this the sound of savings on the best appliance brands. The Home Depot. How doers get more done. Get up to 25% off select appliances, including Samsung. Ends March 1st. Pricing valid February 9th through March 1st, 2023. Gas Dry Extra. U.S. only. See store or online for details.
Hiring can be a headache. That's why there's Indeed, the hiring platform that removes the hassle. Sponsor a job and immediately get a short list of quality candidates. And you can schedule and conduct video interviews right on their site. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
Sponsored by South Carolina Education Lottery. The Powerball jackpot for Wednesday is $57 million. Be sure to stop by your local South Carolina Education Lottery retailer and get your ticket today. See SCEducationLottery.com for jackpot odds and a store near you.
Plus text tags entitled with approved credit. Call 888-320-6359 for details.
I love Kia.
Now through President's Day, JT gives you a $500 Visa gift card with every new vehicle purchase. At JT's Kia, there are hundreds of new Kias. You'll fall head over wheels with a new Kia Sorento. Drive for just $219 a month. Has your credit heart been broken? When other dealers say no, JT says those 3 special words. Yes, yes, yes. Get a $500 Visa gift card with your new Kia now till President's Day. JT's Kia, Killian Commons Road, jtskia.com.
Hey guys, this is Keenan Thompson. I have a problem with you. Yes, you. None of y'all told me that Auto Trader has millions of new and used cars that I can shop from home. I thought we were friends. I put smiles on your face, but I'm not smiling. No one told me that with Auto Trader, a dealer can deliver cars to my home or that I could shop by price on Auto Trader. No one. Consider this friendship that you just learned we had officially over. Finally, it's easy. Auto Trader.
South Carolina Department of Corrections is hiring sergeants and lieutenants statewide. If you have correctional, security, military, or police experience, you can join SCDC as a sergeant or lieutenant. There's $7,500 sign-on bonuses, increased pay, and great employee benefits available. Start your new year off with a new career. Visit joinscdc.com to apply today or call 803-734-JOBS for more information.
Ever wonder why your business doesn't show up on online search maps, but your competitors do? It's hundreds of things. Things that Cumulus Boost can identify and fix. And that's how we boost your findability. CumulusBoost.com. CUMULUS Boost.com.
Plus tax and title with approved credit. Call 888-320-6359 for details.
I love Kia.
Now through President's Day, JT gives you a $500 Visa gift card with every new vehicle purchase. At JT's Kia, there are hundreds of new Kias. You'll fall head over wheels with the new Kia Sorento. Drive for just $219 a month. Has your credit heart been broken? When other dealers say no, JT says those three special words. Yes, yes, yes. Get a $500 Visa gift card with your new Kia now till President's Day. JT's Kia, Killian Commons Road, jtskia.com.
107.5 The Game traffic. Sponsored by the South Carolina Department of Corrections.
South Carolina Department of Corrections is hiring statewide with huge pay raises. Correctional officers can now make $50,000 plus in their first year. Officers must be at least 18 years of age. Visit joinscdc.com to apply.
WIS-TV First Alert Traffic on 107.5 The Game.
Good morning. We have a few incidents on First Alert Traffic that we want to talk about. First one in Newberry County on US 176. Across street is SC 202. There's a collision with some delays. Also, another collision in Richland County on Farrow Road. Cross street will be Pines Road, and one more in Richland County on I-26 westbound, exit 92. Seeing some delays as well. Again, one part of the roadway is blocked. I'm First Alert meteorologist Kevin Arnone.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. This is 107.5 The Game.
Discover Herndon Certified. Herndon Chevrolet's premier used car warranty. Shop with complete confidence knowing Herndon Chevrolet has got you covered.
Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile.
The early game
With Bill Gunter, Preston Thorne, and Jen Jensen
on your home of the Gamecocks.
107.5 The Game.
Eight 803-404-6100 is how you can weigh in this morning. We'll get to several of you on the Firehouse Subs text line, but let's get out to the Love Chevy phone lines where Brady wants to weigh in this morning on both Mike Bobo and on men's basketball. Brady, how you doing? What's on your mind this morning?
Hey, good morning, guys. How are y'all?
Doing great.
Yeah, I'm kind of with Preston on this one. I thought Bobo, I think he's a good coordinator. I think if you look back at his offenses under Mark Richt, they were pretty good. I think Georgia, a lot of that, because I have some Georgia buddies, more of a frustration of trying to get over the hump. They kind of all rolled in together. Mark Richt always winning kind of 8, 9, 10 games, and they couldn't get to where Kirby is. And again, is he the greatest OC? No, probably not. But I think he'll do a good job there. Like you said, he's got players. And he was here 1 year in 2020. I call him the COVID OC because I always remember 2020 being the COVID year. And, Will's last year, he was interim. It was a mess. I thought he brought Colin Hill in here and, with Colin with his bad knees, did the best he could and what he had to work with. And the running game obviously was very good with Kevin Harris. So, I thought he did a pretty good job considering we were a bad football team. So, and you're right. I would have liked to see him with Shane with a couple of years. He went to Auburn for that 1 year, didn't work out, and then he went back to Georgia as an analyst. So, but I think he'll do a pretty good job. He's got players. I think he's a pretty good OC, and he'll kind of fit in Kirby's run and smash, play defense type thing. So I think that'll work out well. And on the basketball team, yeah, I go to all the home games, and it's tough to watch what's going on with Gigi. I'm sure that he's having discussions with them and the family and kind of what's going on with them. He definitely looked checked out last night. And like you said, the body language is not good. He's just going to it's a maturity issue, I think, guys, and I know he's supposed to be a senior in high school, but at some point you got to put on the big boy pants and go play basketball. And it looks like he's just not wanting to be out there right now. You also got to remember, this is a kid who's probably, how many games has he lost before this year? Starting in when he was maybe 15 years old or, whatever, probably not very many games. And now he's going to lose the worst team, them and LSU in the league. And I think it's just a frustration issue, but the body language is not good. And I think he's got to go out there and play basketball. And what's going to help Gigi with his future is not sitting over there and sulking. It's going to be going out there and showing what he can do and playing like he did at the beginning of the season. and really he's really not showing a lot of effort right now. So that's what kind of worries you. He's got to go there and play basketball, play hard, finish out the season, and then make his decision. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Appreciate the phone call. Yeah, the stat line from last night, you talk about effort. And I don't want to I don't know what's going on behind the scenes. I'm not going to pretend to. I know as a former, AAU basketball coach, as a former high school coach, there are certain things you want to see players do. And a guy of GG's caliber, when I look at the stat line, if I'm just looking at it just on the surface, I do look at the stat line and become very concerned when a guy that size with that much skill shoots 7 shots and 6 of them are from 3-point range. That instantly raises my eyebrows and say, why are you not attacking? He's not a bad ball handler. He is not a bad ball handler. Now, it depends on the matchups and who he's got against him and defensively. But this is one thing about GG Jackson that I don't know if I'll defend the age in terms of dealing with the media. These kids, GG Jackson dealt with a lot of media leading up to his arrival at the University of South Carolina. It's not like he got here. It's a different age with kids having phone calls from media contacts, from doing the AAU circuit, from kind of being now with Instagram and TikTok and Twitter and everything. You're out there a little bit more. And a lot of times around you, you've got a group around you. A lot of times you've got a group around you that's willing to support you. But what I do question here is, his ability, his willingness to go to the room, because where I'll give him a pass on his age is, Preston, you've been there your freshman year, probably your redshirt freshman year. You come in, you're 18, you're about to turn 19. You constantly get beat up by older players, more physical guys. Late in the season, you get tired of it. And GG is now running into guys who are more physical, and you're doing it on a nightly basis. And at some point you go, man, I'm tired of this. I'm going to just settle for the 3-pointer. I will give him a break there, but say he's got to learn that with that skill set, you still got to go. And then 1 rebound in 15 minutes, that's just not going to cut it. That's just not going to cut it. You've got to get in there and bang around. And right now, GG Jackson is more of a finesse player that wants to hang out on the perimeter and stay and shy away from contact in the interior.
Yeah, there's a lot of points, Brady. Great call. I really appreciate it. Especially somebody who has the eyesight, because a lot of stuff that we don't see on camera in a game, you can be able to see those body language types of things in person. And they may not be huge ideas, but again, I've worked a majority of my life with teenagers. They are masters at rolling their eyes, sucking their teeth, just doing things that they know that the adult in the room will get on their nerves just enough, but not enough to really be demonstrative enough, but everybody knows what they're doing. And it's interesting to see those types of things are happening with GG. But we'll get to all of that in a second. But just from the pure physical basketball aspect of when you're a freshman, what you were doing to Bill Gunner in the AAU tournament, because he was playing against you and you was dunking over him and you was celebrating, you was flexing. That might not work against the number 1 draft picks that Arkansas has, or the 24-year-old wily vet that Vanderbilt has. You know what I'm saying? So there's a awakening moment that comes, but it's not going to get easier. Does he think, once I get into the NBA or the D League, where you got some 30-year-old dude who's trying to feed his family of 4 and he has to make imagine GG Jackson playing against a Pat Beverly type of dude, journeyman in the D League. It's not going to be where there's no path of resistance. So he's going to have to figure this out within him. And I've contended that it's better that he's going through this in a very friendly environment, which South Carolina is, than going in it against grown men or in an environment where there would be a lot more pointed questions towards him. So it might not be working out the way he thinks it is, but this is probably best for where he is in his maturity level right now.
Yeah, I mean, look, the physical aspect of it, I'll give him a pass. I will, because he's getting beaten around, and I've seen this happen with a lot of players. He's not the first. It's the mental aspect of it that is the biggest concern. And I'll be honest, right now, if you asked me, there's no chance he's back at South Carolina next year. 0. When you have a player this checked out and it's this public, he might not be in the NBA, but that transfer portal will come into play. And whether people want to believe it or not. Maybe the NBA is not willing to take him. John Calipari will. Hubert Davis will. John Shire will. That's the way those programs work. And they go, all right, well, we'll take that guy and put him around our talented players, and we'll make him look better. The mental aspect of it is the biggest concern. And I'll get into that with you a little bit, because also how that makes your teammates feel.
Absolutely.
That's a bigger thing. I mean, with 5 games to go, we talked about it yesterday, trying to build a culture right now at South Carolina, and you're trying to come down the stretch here and gain a little momentum for next year. Just do something that when you go into off-season workouts is a foundation of your program. And right now that's completely being eroded by one guy on the end of the bench who's not happy with anybody.
And I've never been on a higher level basketball team. Basketball is different than football, because in football there's 100 of us. If 1 or 2 of those dudes is disgruntled, it doesn't really matter. Even if you're the best player, it kind of doesn't matter. 1 or 2 of you, we'll figure something out. But when there's 12 of you, and you're the best player, and you're the star, and you're sort of pulling the reins towards this way, there's a lot more pull. And I would imagine, Bill, you've been on basketball teams, that you're closer, but in a way that makes it worse, because it's only 10 of us, it's only 12 of us. We have to be going in the right direction.
803-404-6100. We'll get more into that. Russell weighing in early this morning and saying, Bill, that was the 3rd strike for Gigi last night. First was home against Tennessee when he didn't stick around for the alma mater. Second was the social media post. Third is his antics during and after the timeout yesterday. I feel his draft stock is slipping to the early to mid-round. Attitude does account for something. We'll continue talking about that.
Yeah, I want to talk about that on the other side, because I think you made 2 points that are valid but separate.
Okay. Yeah, we'll get into that a little bit, because it is a discussion. It is a discussion. And maybe you didn't expect South Carolina's basketball season to be all that good, but right now there is a now with 5 games to go and about half a month to go, there is a situation on Lamont Paris's hands if he wants to continue to build a foundation. We'll see how he does that. 803-404-6100. You're listening to Preston Thorne, Bill Gunner. She's Jen Jensen. It's the early game on 107.5 The Game.
We are very social.
At 107.5 The Game on Twitter, 107.5 The Game on Instagram, and 107.5 The Game on Facebook.
Oh, Teddy, did you get my friend request? Oh, I'll have to check.
Your home of the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game.
Going out, purchasing a brand new vehicle. It should be a great experience. It really should. It should be something to get excited about. You're thrilled to go and do it. Everybody should have big smiles on their faces when they get in the car. And you know what? Keeping those smiles on your faces should continue when you drive off the lot in a brand new vehicle. Love Chevrolet has understood that for over 60 years. They understand the value of working with you and your family to find that perfect car, truck, or SUV that a lifetime of memories will be made in. And that's why they have so many promises they keep to you, the consumer. They don't sell above MSRP. They offer you the largest selection of vehicles anywhere in the Midlands. And the best part, they have a sales staff that is well-trained, that is knowledgeable, that is friendly, that knows how to answer every question you have to help you make an informed decision. Again, that's why Love Chevrolet has been in business for over 60 years, because of customer service, because of treating you, the customer, with the utmost respect and the utmost integrity. Go find out for yourself. I-26 in Harbison, between Lowe's and Frankie's Fun Park. You can visit them on the web, lovechevy.com. Get out there today and discuss your options. What car, what truck, what SUV fits you and your family the best? If you're in the market for one of those items, let me tell you, there's no better place than Love Chevrolet. Again, I-26 in Harbison, between Lowe's and Frankie's Fun Park, or on the web, lovechevy.com. Get out to Love Chevrolet and find new roads.
Plus text section title with approved credit call 888-411-7640 for details. Now through President's Day, JT's Dodgeland gives you a $500 Visa gift card with every new vehicle purchase. And Dodgeland's loaded with Rams at South Carolina's Truck Giant. New 2022 Bighorn Ram up to $11,000 off. Drive for just $349 a month. New Chargers and Challengers save $5,000 below MSRP. Credit concerns? JT is the man who says yes. Dodgeland on Greystone, jtsdodge.com. President's Day sales event.
An ode to the mountains, oceans, rivers, and adventurers of the Southeast, Peak Drift Brewing Company has launched its award-winning craft beers and hard seltzers to bars, stores, and restaurants across the Midlands. Try our Golden Ale, New England IPA, Red IPA,
berry crumble sour, or fire pit ale, all crafted using cutting-edge technology that promotes sustainability and industry collaboration. Find your Peak Drift moment at peakdriftbrewing.com.
Plus text and title with approved credit call 888-320-6359 for details.
I love Kia.
Now through President's Day, JT gives you a $500 Visa gift card with every new vehicle purchase. At JT's Kia, there are hundreds of new Kias. You'll fall head over wheels with a new Kia Sorento. Drive for just $219 a month. Has your credit heart been broken? When other dealers say no, JT says those three special words. Yes, yes, yes. Get a $500 Visa gift card with your new Kia now till President's Day. JT's Kia, Killian Commons Road, jtskia.com.
I'm Bridget Condon with NFL Network Now on the Westwood One Radio Network. If the Eagles want to make a return trip to the Super Bowl next season, they'll have to do it with two new coordinators. Philly defensive coordinator Jonathan Gannon was named the Cardinals' next head coach Tuesday, just one day after interviewing with the team. Gannon's Eagles had the top-ranked pass defense in the league in 2022 and the most quarterback sacks. And Philly's former offensive play caller Shane Steichen was introduced as the Colts' new head coach Tuesday. Colts owner Jim Irsay says he hired Steichen to help develop a young quarterback, a sign of where Indy may be focusing with their 4th overall pick in the draft. Irsay also already has at least one college quarterback he likes, Alabama's Bryce Young, saying of the former Heisman winner, quote, "The Alabama guy doesn't look bad, I'll tell you." If Indy chooses to go the veteran route, Derek Carr is now available. The Raiders, as expected, released the Pro Bowl quarterback Tuesday, and he is now a free agent. This has been NFL Network Now on the Westwood One Radio Network.
Hi, this is Joe Cordell with the law firm Cordell & Cordell. Divorce can be complicated, especially if children are involved. If you're a father and want to protect your role in your children's lives, remember Cordell & Cordell. We've helped men with matters like these for 30 years, and we'd love to help you.
Contact Cordell & Cordell to schedule an appointment with one of our firm's Columbia area attorneys. 1201 Main Street, Suite 840, Columbia, South Carolina, 29201. Joseph Cordell, licensed in Missouri and Illinois only. Online at CordellCordell.com.
Are you working way too hard for way too little? There's never been a better time to consider a career in IT. You could enjoy a recession-resistant career in a rewarding field with plenty of growth opportunities and often flexible work environments. Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. You could start your new career in months, not years. Take classes online or on campus, and financial aid is available to qualified students, including the GI Bill. Now is the time. mycomputercareer.edu.
107.5 The Game traffic. Sponsored by the South Carolina Department of Corrections.
South Carolina Department of Corrections is hiring statewide with huge pay raises. Correctional officers can now make $50,000 plus in their first year. Officers must be at least 18 years of age. Visit joinscdc.com to apply.
WIS-TV First Alert Traffic on 107.5 The Game.
Just a couple conditions out there to let you know about this morning. I-77 southbound between Shop Road and Bluff Road. Some construction work that could be slowing things down just a little bit this morning. 77 for the high today, 79 tomorrow. Some morning showers tomorrow with a high of 67. But right now, not too bad. 43 at 107.5 The Game.
What we're talking about on 107.5 The Game.
Sponsored by Love Chevrolet.
Eight zero 6100 how you can weigh in this morning, talking South Carolina basketball right now with Preston Thorne as we handle this. So you look at it with GG Jackson and South Carolina's basketball season is not going well for anybody, right? Like there's no Josh Gray, maybe the last few weeks you're like, oh, Josh Gray. Okay. Hey, how about that? Didn't see like there's a foundational piece. Josh Gray last night, 23 minutes, grabbed 12 rebounds again, did only score 2 points. He was 1 of 2 from the field, but Josh Gray's at least kind of developing there. So maybe if you're looking for the silver lining, but GG Jackson last night, 15 points, 1 of 7 from the field, 0 of 6, 1 rebound, just 2 points. Again, the stats that bother me the most is the 1 rebound. That is not getting yourself in position for rebounds. And we've all, you got the Dennis Rodman, rebounds with anybody. Charles Barkley wasn't exactly the tallest, most athletic guy out there, but he knew how to rebound. G.G. Jackson, that's the one thing he can go in and you can impact the game because rebounding is a hustle stat. Look, Hayden Brown is not the most athletic. He's not the tallest. You can use a lot of adjectives to describe him and his game, but he plays kind of like Michael Carrera did with a very high motor. He plays very, very hard. And last night, Hayden Brown's in there 31 minutes, of course, but he grabs 7 rebounds. He does also commit 5 fouls again. Hayden Brown is challenging Chris Silva for some kind of SEC record on fouls. But the problem everybody has, and we're going to lighten this up for a second too, the problem everybody has with Gigi, because if those stats, if it was 15 minutes and Gigi was over there clapping and cheering his teammates on and in the huddle and being that teammate, nobody'd say a word, right? We'd all be like, oh, this is just growing pains. It's fine. It's cool. This is what happens. This happens to a lot of college freshmen. This is not something new. But that's not what you're seeing. And you're seeing it publicly. So our question to you, while we're having a serious discussion, our question to you this morning is, what was your go-to pouting move with your parents? I remember mine very, very specifically. This is just very, what I'm about to say to you is not going to help your impression of me. Let me just put it out there, okay?
18-year-old Bill.
Whatever you're about to hear is
Bill.
not going to be like, oh, okay. Boy, he had some real problems growing up. One summer, wanted a jet ski.
It's not fair.
Didn't get it. So just sat on the couch for like an hour on a very hot day, just like, oh, lake would be great today. I bet being in the water. You know how much fun jet skis are? And just have magazines that I had wasted money on with pictures just laying around the house and just threw a total temper tantrum. And then I think I got kicked out of the house for 6 hours because my dad had enough. Just go to one of your buddies' houses and bother their parents. Stop bothering me. So we all had a go-to pouting move, 803-404-6100. What was your go-to?
What's your signature go-to? I have a problem with my eyes. My eyes seem to be disconnected from my head and roll around a lot. I got kicked out of a meeting one time with Coach Holtz because he said something and apparently I thought it was hogwash. And I rolled my eyes. He said, Thor, get out. And he kicked me out. He said, your eyes, and you can't, this is a radio, so he's like, your eyes are all going like this. And so my eyes tell a story when I'm pouting.
So mine is just overall slumped shoulders, just poor, and then just letting you hear about it, just being a consummate, as Jen would know it, just a consummate whiner. Very good at it too. Very, very talented at it. But the big picture here is what it does for the foundation of the program, Preston, what it does for what Lamont Paris is trying to build. Because as Richard says, thank you. You just gave Hayden Brown some credit. I'm turning off the radio for the rest of the day. I'm satisfied. Yeah. The one thing, Hayden Brown is what you want as a culture builder, right? He's not the most talented. He's not the most athletic. But Hayden Brown does show up each and every night with his lunch pail, with his hard hat, and he gives you every ounce of energy he has for however many minutes those 5 fouls will allow him to play. He is a guy that you point to, and probably in practice, his teammates hate going against Hayden Brown because he's probably that guy that you play at the YMCA who's tugging on your jersey, who's stepping on your foot, who's pushing you a little bit. You hate that guy, but that's what you need in your program. That's what you need. And Hayden Brown is the perfect example of this is what we have to have to get to where Alabama's at, to get to where Tennessee is. You've got to have that gritty determination. What does it do? Let me ask you this when we come back, because we're up against it a little bit. What does it do for your program, Preston? You saw it. Holtz brought in some high-level players, and they can erode that foundation you're trying to build. Let's ask you that when we come back. You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game.
107.5 The Game on demand podcast menu.
Sponsored by Lexington Orthopedics and Sports Medicine.
If you're dealing with injuries or pain, our team is here to get you better sooner.
On the home of the Gamecocks, 107.5 The Game.
Keeping warm during the winter. Well, good news. Yesterday was 70. Today is nice and warm as well. I think this weekend dips back down into the 50s. But the bottom line is we're almost through the winter. So now you got to start thinking about those famously hot Columbia summers. There's a reason they use that slogan, famously hot. It's because, well, if you've been around in July and August, you know that your air conditioner better be working. I just switched mine out. AAA Heating and Air was at my house recently, got a brand new heating and air unit in the house, and now I am ready for the summer. If you need a brand new heating and air unit, now is the time to contact Roy and Dana Finley and get that appointment set up. You can have new comfort in your home as soon as tomorrow by making the phone call today. I had contacted them on a Friday, and they were out there that next business day, getting everything set up and ready to go. So contact them today and get AAA Heating and Air out to your house. They have great deals going on right now. And here's the best part. They guarantee financing. That's right. Financing for everybody, not just some of those with great credit. Everybody who has credit gets financing. AAA Heating and Air will get a new heating and air unit in your house tomorrow if you make the phone call today. 803-677-1500. Again, that's 803-677-1500. Not only do they guarantee financing, you get a 15-year parts and labor warranty along with it. AAA Heating and Air is going to take care of you and your family, just like last week they did with me and my family. 803-677-1500. Contact AAA Heating and Air today. Tell them Bill Gunner sent you.
Sponsored by South Carolina Education Lottery. Did you know that since 2002, more than $925 million in lottery proceeds has been used to fund lottery tuition assistance for students attending technical colleges in South Carolina? Playing for fun is just a win for education. Visit sceducationlottery.com/educationwins for more info.
Plus text entitled with approved credit call 888-411-7640 for details. Now through President's Day, JT's Dodgeland gives you a $500 Visa gift card with every new vehicle purchase. And Dodgeland's loaded with Rams at South Carolina's Truck Giant. New 2022 Bighorn Ram up to $11,000 off. Drive for just $349 a month. New Chargers and Challengers save $5,000 below MSRP. Credit concerns? JT is the man who says yes. Dodgeland on Greystone, jtsdodge.com. President's Day sales event.
Uneven sidewalks, pool decks, or patios? Canty can repair them for just a fraction of the cost of replacement. Call Canty Foundation Specialists today for your free estimate.
Canty can fix it.
Uneven concrete can be a dangerous tripping hazard leading to injury. Call the experts at Canty to permanently repair your sinking or cracked concrete. Call 753-1495 or visit CantyCanFixIt.com. Canty can fix it.
Breathe easier with Zerez Air Duct Cleaning. It's the only company I trust to get my home insanely clean. Right now, mention me, Bill Gunner, at 107.5 The Game, and you'll get $30 off your next air duct cleaning. Use promo code AIR30 when scheduling online at ZerezColumbia.com.
No one likes to talk about the injuries, pain, disability, and lost loved ones that result from terrible car and tractor-trailer accidents. I'm Jason Reynolds. At the Samuels Reynolds Law Firm, we're honored to be the lawyers our clients rely on during their toughest moments.
And I'm Stephen Samuels. When work injury disrupts your life, I work hard to get you the medical treatment and workers' compensation you depend on.
Samuels Reynolds. True injuries, true lawyers. 803-779-4000.
Plus text entitled with approved credit call 888-320-6359 for details.
I love Kia.
Now through President's Day, JT gives you a $500 Visa gift card with every new vehicle purchase. At JT's Kia, there are hundreds of new Kias. You'll fall head over wheels with the new Kia Sorento. Drive for just $219 a month. Has your credit heart been broken? When other dealers say no, JT says those three special words. Yes, yes, yes. Get a $500 Visa gift card with your new Kia now till President's Day. JT's Kia, Killian Commons Road, jtskia.com.
South Carolina fans, this is Spencer Rattler. The Garnet Trust is making a difference by connecting fans like you with athletes like me through NIL deals. Head on over to garnettrust.com to find out how you can support me and my teammates for as little as $10.
107.5 The Game traffic. Sponsored by the South Carolina Department of Corrections.
South Carolina Department of Corrections is hiring statewide with huge pay raises. Correctional officers can now make $50,000 plus in their first year. Officers must be at least 18 years of age. Visit joinscdc.com to apply.
WIS-TV First Alert Traffic on 107.5 The Game.
Things not looking too bad out on the highways this morning. Just that construction I-77 southbound between Shop Road and Bluff Road. Of course, construction throughout the Midlands, making your commute fun. on a daily basis. Partly cloudy, 77 today. Cloudy tomorrow, 79. Some morning showers on Friday and a high of 67, but decent start to your morning for February. 43 right now at 107.5 The Game.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. This is 107.5 The Game.
A great selection of new Chevys is available now at Herndon Chevrolet. The lot is packed with inventory and more is on the way. So shop your hometown Chevy dealer today.
Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile. The Early Game with Bill Gunter.
Former Gamecock Preston Thorne.
And Jen Jensen on your home of the Gamecocks.
107.5 The Game.
Talking with Preston Thorne, obviously a lot of discussion. I'm going to get into Preston's thoughts on what it's like in a locker room when you have kind of some guys with bad attitudes. But let's listen last night. This is Lamont Paris, who, again, listen closely because Lamont's not bombastic like Frank Martin was. You got to kind of listen closely when Lamont talks about something. But this is Lamont on Gigi's bench attitude last night during the game.
Yeah, I didn't notice any of that, to be honest with you. I'm into the game, and the 5 guys that are on the court usually, occasionally I'll spend a little bit of time with the guys that are on the bench if something in the game pertains to them. So I didn't notice any of that. Yeah, I'm sure he was frustrated. He didn't play particularly well. It happens to everyone. And, so we made I played some guys in the second half that were, my job ultimately is to try to win the basketball game and there's some buttons I get to push. I don't get to make layups. I don't get to pass it to guys, but I do get to push a couple buttons. Some of them have to do with personnel combinations that are in at the right time. A couple things that we're going to run, and we're going to be man or zone. And I thought our best chance at that point was that group that we had that started the half. We made a run. Hayden turned it over, and that ended the run. We made a couple substitutions. They went on a run. And so I subbed back, and then we started clawing our way back.
Look, I will say it again. This is not a coach going, I'm sorry for not playing you publicly. Everybody, there's a lot of people saying, well, you got to bench him. You got to teach. You got to, just show him who's the ball. Lamont, if you listen again, Lamont's not out there like he doesn't leave these long pauses to let a comment hang over you. Lamont's saying right there, hey, I'm playing the group right now that's giving us the best chance to win. And that group doesn't include Gigi Jackson. Now, the problem is it's clearly creating a public attraction to Gigi Jackson because of the way he's acting. And, Preston, I ask you, in your time playing football, that disappointment. Now, football's different, but if you've got issues on the sidelines with upset players, then it carries into the locker room. What was that like during your time?
Yeah, we had a very clear distinction. I believe it was like 2004. They had brought in a really talented recruiting class. I know if you can look, it was very highly ranked, probably the highest one of Holtz's tenure. Unfortunately, a lot of those dudes were not trying to get on program with the culture that was in set. So you had this distinction where these younger guys that were coming in were more talented than we were, right? The guys who were there, but we were trying to set the culture, and they're kind of looking at it like, all right, move out the way because we're the talent that's coming in here. We're going to be the ones. And there was always going to be this sort of bumping up against each other as far as how things were going to be done. And the coaches were in a position where they were trying to kind of take the next step in the program. They had a lot of players. These were highly recruited, highly celebrated. Then you had a bunch of sort of Hayden Brown, lunch pail guys that were consisted of the rest of the team, and it never gelled. And it never really worked. And there was always, and that's why that team was mediocre. We had more talent to be mediocre, but we never gelled as a team.
803-404-6100, how you can weigh. We'll get to the Love Chevy phone lines there in the next hour. We do have a question for you this morning that fits our show, and Jen will appreciate this. What is your go-to pouting move
Or maybe not is. What was your go-to powder?
I got a feeling if it was, it still is. My father and people around me would probably tell you my go-to pouting move of whiny. What is those? The Boston Terriers that are just whiny dogs.
Okay.
That would be me. I'm going to it's not pointed and I'm not mean. I just remind you of all the benefits of whatever item I need could be helpful for me. Kind of like when I really wanted the box taken off the thermostat. We'll discuss that in hour number 2. My personal therapy session.
WNKT FM, Eastover, Columbia, your home of the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game, a Cumulus media station.
I always wanted to learn Spanish, but I never thought I'd have the time. Then I discovered Babbel.
Babbel's lessons are fun. They only take like 10 or 15 minutes, and in 3 weeks, presto, you're starting to speak another language. Like magic.
I love that Babbel's lessons aren't just robots talking. They're voiced by native speakers, so you get the pronunciation just right. And they're designed by real language teachers, so you learn how to have real-world conversations, things you'll actually use.
It's incredible. After using Babbel, I'm ready to start having real conversations in French.
There's all kinds of ways to learn. Use Babbel's podcasts or games or videos. You can even join live classes with a language teacher.
If you want to learn a language, there's no faster, easier, better way than
Babbel.
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 Babbel. Évidemment.
Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's BABBEL.com. Babbel.com.
Text entitled with approved credit call 866-243-4623 for details. Thousands of people around the Midlands had their credit damaged during the pandemic. Now, as they attempt to reestablish credit, they find themselves being turned down. JT wants to help, and he has the power to say you're approved. Take advantage of the lowest prices on Jeeps right now, up to $7,500 off. Rams up to $11,000 off. You can drive for just $349 a month and help your credit. JT's Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram, 378 Lexington, jtsjeep.com.
Do you struggle with occasional nerve aches in your hands or feet? Try Nervive Nerve Relief from the world's #1 nerve care company. Nervive tablets contain alpha-lipoic acid to relieve nerve aches, weakness, and discomfort, plus B-complex vitamins to support healthy nerve function as you age. Live life with less nerve discomfort with Nervive Nerve Relief. Learn more at nervivehealth.com. And try Nervive Pain Relieving Cream to block nerve pain signals at the source. Use as directed.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Uneven sidewalks, pool decks, or patios? Canty can repair them for just a fraction of the cost of replacement. Call Canty Foundation Specialists today for your free estimate.
Canty can fix it.
Uneven concrete can be a dangerous tripping hazard leading to injury. Call the experts at Canty to permanently repair your sinking or cracked concrete. Call 753-1495 or visit CantyCanFixIt.com. Canty can fix it.
Did you hear? South Carolina Department of Corrections has huge pay raises for officers. Correctional officers can now make $50,000 in their first year. Officers must be at least 18 years old and have a high school diploma or GED. Visit joinscdc.com to apply. Sponsored by South Carolina Department of Corrections, SCBA, and this station.
What we're talking about on 107.5 The Game.
Sponsored by the power of Love Chevrolet. While the other dealers are scrambling for slick new catchphrases, we're doubling down on who we are and what we do. Honesty, transparency, and utmost integrity. Love Chevy. I-26 at Harbison and at lovechevy.com. Find new roads. The early game.
With Bill Gunter and Jen Jensen, former Gamecock Preston Thorne.
What was the theme music?
Let's try it. Ready? Dun, 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 dun,
Oh,
dun,
yeah, I
dun,
noticed
dun,
this.
dun,
I
dun,
actually-
dun, dun, dun.
On your home of the Gamecocks.
Which one is? Dun, 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 dun.
Preston, by the way, has an incredible ability to.
That is 1,000% banging.
107.5 The Game.
803-404-6100. How you can be a part of the program as we get hour 2 off and running. A lot of discussions this morning, certainly South Carolina Vanderbilt, but more so the G.G. Jackson situation and how it's playing out. We'll continue to discuss that. We will get back into the Mike Bobo offensive coordinator situation at Georgia. More so just because I think it's fascinating with coaches being hired. And Preston, we talked about it. It's been talked about in the NFL, retread coaches, like guys that just continuously get offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator jobs.
Big Fangio's back.
Poor guy just let down the Eagles. Didn't he spend like 2 weeks trying to help them prepare for Mahomes in Kansas City?
They said.
Did no good. But Mike Bobo, look, we'll see. Mike Bobo's going to have a lot of talent. They're going to be fine. They're going to have a top 15 offense nationally next year, even probably with a brand new quarterback, whether it's Carson Beck or Brock Vandergriff, or if Gunnar Stockton works his way into the mix. But I think it's the bigger question of seeing how Nick Saban hiring a defensive coordinator, a true retread in Kevin Steele, and how Kirby Smart hiring someone he's familiar with. And by the way, we should point out with Kevin Steele and Nick Saban, there was a familiarity there for those two. They had coached together. This is, Nick Saban stepped out of his comfort zone to hire a Lane Kiffin, right? Like, that personality. Now, he might have respected Lane and he might have known Monty Kiffin. Maybe respected is not the right word, but he might have thought,
he saw some value in there.
Yeah, that guy's offensive mindset fits us well. I'll mold him into what I need. Steve Sarkisian was another one. You look at where he's gone the last few years with Brian DeBole and Bill O'Brien. But that was offensive guys. Nick Saban turned around and went to an old retread, but a guy he was familiar with in Kevin Steele. Kirby Smart in this situation, it is interesting. I've got to go back and confirm what I think I saw last night, that Smart, Muschamp, and Bobo, I think at some point, were all on the same team.
Yes.
There was some overlapping of years between the three of them, but I want to say it was the 93, 92, 93, 94 team. I don't think Bobo was starting, if I've read this correctly, but I'll have to go back and check. But there's an overlapping. It did bring me to a question last night that I'll pose to you this morning, 803-404-6100. If you could pick three, and I'm not talking about coaches. I'm not just talking about people who are out there coaching. If you could pick three former Gamecocks, who would be your head coach, who would be your offensive coordinator, and who would be your defensive coordinator? You got your head coach, your offensive coordinator, and your defensive coordinator. And I'm going to go kind of new age on this because your head coach is going to do all the talking. He's going to be the face of the program. I'm assuming people would be like, Steven Garcia is our head coach.
Okay, that's a choice. That's a choice.
Yeah. You're either going with like flair and style, or you're going with these are the best players I saw. I'm putting them, but Steven Garcia, Connor Shaw is just I just went with him as offensive coordinator, but maybe you'd go like Eric Kimry just because we know Kimry is an offensive guy and you've heard him here on this station and he's coached. So maybe you'd go Kimry, and then defensive coordinator. I'm going with DJ Swearinger. I want that guy out there. That's the closest thing we have to an Ed Reed or a deal.
Well, I'm not familiar if you're sure what's going down with Ed Reed's last tirade, so I don't know if that's going to.
Well, but he brings a swagger. Let's just say
he brings something.
Ed Reed was, I'm hurt, dog, right? Like, that's what I want. I want that kind of, like.
I'm a little disappointed you didn't say anything about hiring like a Preston Thorne.
I couldn't, because then someone down there might be like, maybe we should do that. And the next thing I know, we're back to square one for a co-host. Yeah.
You clearly made a choice with this staff.
I want
you have a direction. You have a type you're going after. I respect it. I don't know how long it's going to work, but it's going to be entertaining.
So I'll ask you that. 803-404-6100. Who is the guy? Let me ask you this just real quick. On the teams you played. Now, Kimry was part of it, so they eliminate Kimry. Who was the guy on your team? Was it always the quarterback? But who was the guy on your team that you're like, yeah, that guy's annoying. He's going to be a coach. Like, he's always, I appreciate him. Because I'll never forget one time I was playing in a pickup game, like right after high school. I was playing in a pickup game, like out at it. Kind of, it was people I didn't know, right? Like I was out like over in Irmo. I just walked up and I was playing a pickup game. And 4 guys who I never played with, and I'm just like directing traffic. That's what a good point guard did. That's what I learned from Bailey Harris. I'm directing traffic. And finally, one of them just looked at me and was like, "Hey, Coach K, shut up." I was like, "Oh, okay. Sorry, here."
Nice.
He respected me. He had heard enough of me talking, though. I was done talking, so which is translated well in my career. But who was the guy that you played with that you're like, yeah, that guy's kind of annoying and he's always correcting other people, but he's going to be a good coach?
Ryan Brewer is definitely going to be able to give us our pregame speech.
Okay.
Right? So I don't know if he's calling any plays or if he's in any meetings, but when it comes time for pregame to get you ready to go, Ryan Brewer is going to be there for sure. It's funny you ask this question because I'm thinking of all the dudes as to why they would not be coaches.
Yeah. And real quick, if I was picking, because Jerry texted in and says, what about Deuce Staley? Yeah, if I was being serious with this, it would be like Deuce Staley as head coach, Eric Kimmery as OC, and Chris Hampton. If you're not paying attention to what Chris Hampton's
Chris is doing some great things.
He's out to Oregon now. I forget what exactly his title is, but he just left Tulane and has gone out to Oregon to be on that staff. Chris Hampton and Travian Robertson, and Bryson Allen Williams, by the way. Bryson Allen Williams will be on the North Carolina staff when South Carolina sees him. You've got some Gamecocks, and I'm sure I'm leaving out a few others, but Chris Hampton is. So if I was being serious about this, it would be like Deuce Staley as your head coach because he's been around. Eric Kimmery is my OC, and I'd probably go Chris Hampton as DC.
Yeah, and so just to build on that list right there, Chris was a freshman when I was a senior, and he was one of those freshmen who immediately picked up on everything. He was a little undersized as a safety and maybe limited in athletic ability, but he picked up on everything. He was in every meeting. He played on all the special teams. So that's not surprising to me that he's sort of made that leap in the coaching profession.
And by the way, he's
not shocked by that at all.
Co-defensive coordinator and safeties coach.
Yeah, he's on
Oregon.
He's on his. Obviously, he was at Tulane last year, one of the bigger turnarounds in college football. He's on his way to getting a big time job. So we'll see.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's somebody, because I was thinking about all these guys who were awesome, but like Sheldon Brown was an amazing player, but he never talked. So like you have to have a coach that says words at some point. So like Sheldon and Andre Goodman, great guys, awesome players. I don't know if they speak. You know what I'm saying? So
they just pass you a note. You're like, what is it?
Not even corn dog, like not even that brief.
They wouldn't even get that much out. So that's what I was thinking of, all these dudes who were awesome men, awesome players. I don't know if they would actually be able to convey a message just because they just don't talk.
803-404-6100. All right, so you can go the serious route and tell me the guys who are coaching now, who are in the profession, and who you like, or you can go the kind of the non,
which we would prefer,
the non-serious route, and who you'd want as your 3. I think it's Craig here that weighs in and says he'd go with Marcus Lattimore, Connor Shaw, and Shaq Wilson.
Well, Shaq's on staff now. Shaq, and I've gotten to know Shaq later. Obviously, we didn't play with each other, but Shaq is a tremendous man, first and foremost. Very knowledgeable about the game. And if you think about all of those great Gamecock defenses, he was the quarterback of those defenses. He was probably, I hope Shaq's not listening, he was probably the least talented of a lot of those guys that were playing, but he was probably maybe
1301 Gervais Street, Shaq. If you want to just, you can come stand. We'll roll up the window. You can just come stand out here.
Shaq. I'll holler at
just stare in the window at Preston while he does the show.
He was the fulcrum on which everything sort of was based on him. So yeah, he's a star in the profession. I hope we can keep him around here.
DC on our live stream weighs in and says Steve Tannehill would be his OC. And Tannehill obviously did a great job at Union for a long time. And
we're just going to have to rein Tannehill in, right? Because Tannehill is going to want to throw it. He's going to want to go for it on 4th down.
He's the air raid guy.
We're throwing the ball 65 times a game. He doesn't understand why the defense can't get him the ball back. He wants to win every game 56-52. He'd be fine with it.
There you go. Yeah. So
you just got to know what you're doing with these guys.
803-404-6100 is how you can wait if you want to go that direction. Again, we'll get back into the G.G. Jackson discussion. We do have the poll question out this morning. What is your go-to pouting maneuver now? And coming off of Valentine's Day, you can get back into your pouting maneuvers if you would like to go that way. DC on our live stream says silence is his go-to pouting. I think
very strong move right there. What's wrong? Nothing.
And Jim on our live stream says, I really think we're missing out not seeing Preston on camp. Just saying. Well, I've done all I can.
We're working on it.
I've done all I can. All right.
I seriously, I'm going to bring my computer.
At Coach P tweets.
We're going to get it. We're going to get it done.
You now can take it up with him. At Coach P tweets is how you can reach out to him about that. 803-404-6100. A couple of y'all, Christian weighing in. Connor Shaw as the head ball coach, Marcus Lattimore as the OC, and DJ Swearinger as the DC. Matt C weighing in as Perry Orth should be on there. Connor Shaw and someone like Gilmore so Shaw and someone like Gilmore as coordinators.
Gilmore's not a huge talker either. I mean, he's going to have to get in front of the team and tell the team the game plan. And I also think Steph is going to be like, why can't y'all do this? I did this my whole life. Obviously, do you need me to play quarterback? Hey, quarterback, get out of there. Yeah. I can do this too. So that might be a tough choice.
Robin weighs in on our live stream. My pouting move is slamming doors and drawers.
And drawers.
Just so noise. Noise. Noise around the house so that you know where she is at all times and that she is still not happy.
All right. I like it. A lot of loud stomping.
So we got plenty of that going on this morning. The serious topics again, South Carolina basketball. We'll get back into the G.G. Jackson discussion. We'll get back into this offensive coordinator. Again, I think with Mike Bobo, I don't really care about what he brings to Georgia, what he doesn't bring. I'm fascinated by what we just brought up, the retread kind of hires, and the fact that Georgia could have gone out and really gotten probably just about anybody they wanted. They probably could have even gone into the NFL and dipped their Kirby Smart could have gone into that pool if he wanted. Instead, he hires a guy on staff that he's comfortable with. But when we come back, I want to get into this. The Athletic, Andy Stables has got an article out, and it's, we will find out soon who South Carolina's permanent opponents are going to be. But I think what comes out of this question is who should have final say within reason. Okay, there is that part. Who should have final say within reason of your three permanent opponents? Because there's one entity that's about to pay a whole lot of money for a product, and they want 13 weeks of great product, right? They want 13 weeks of great product. Andy Staples has got an article breaking down the three permanent opponents. I'll go ahead and tell you, he's got a South Carolina Vanderbilt permanent opponent, which we would love, right? Go to Nashville. You get that every other year. You love your chances against Vanderbilt. But let's be honest, it's not a television game. That thing's going to be, I think it's going to be the 4:30 game on the SEC network every week, or the noon game. He's also got Florida, Oklahoma, which makes no sense as far as a permanent opponent, but that's a name brand game that Disney gets, ABC, ESPN gets every year. That's one that you typically wouldn't have. And that's why I'm going to ask you when we come back, who should get final say? Is the SEC get to dictate the schedule, or is this ESPN, ABC, Disney stepping in and going, no, I want this particular matchup every year so we can showcase it on our networks. 803-404-6100. You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game.
Gotta take.
Hit us up on the Firehouse Subs text line.
Firehouse Subs, founded by firemen.
803-404-6100.
On your home of the Gamecocks.
107.5 The Game.
Keeping a nice, clean home, especially after that big football game this past Sunday, you want to contact Zero Res. Why? Because they've got their patented ZR water technology, scientifically proven to keep your carpets, your rugs, your tile, your upholstery all not only insanely clean, but keep it cleaner longer. And they do it all with no residue, no soapy foam left behind. You can feel comfortable with the kids, with the animals running around on it. That ZR water is one of the best products out there when it comes to keeping your carpets, your rugs, your tile, your upholstery clean. And Zero Res does a fantastic job. Contact them today, 803-262-4020, or you can schedule online, zerorescolumbia.com. Take advantage right now. Mention me, Bill Gunner, at 107.5 The Game, and you'll get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned for just $119 plus a free hallway. How about that? That's an extra hallway that you can get cleaned right there. Contact Zero Res today, 803-262-4020, or again, schedule online, zerorescolumbia.com. ZR Water Technology, an absolutely fantastic item that can be used to keep your home looking great this coming spring. So contact Zero Res today, 803-262-4020. Again, mention my name, Bill Gunner, at 107.5 The Game, and you'll get 3 rooms of carpet clean for just $119. And again, you'll get a hallway cleaned for free. 803-262-4020, or schedule online, zerorescolumbia.com. Zero S spelled forwards or backwards is the right way to clean.
This is Boomer Esiason with the CBS Sports Minute. Having whispered sweet plays into the ears of Justin Herbert and Jalen Hurts, new Colts head coach Shane Steichen knows young quarterbacks for sure. A former signal caller himself at UNLV, he's poised to draft and develop a young passer. Unlike failed interim coach and owner's pet Jeff Saturday, Steichen is legit, folks. Just don't let Saturday anywhere near this team. I'm Boomer Esiason.
CBS Sports Radio.
Lowe's always has more ways for you to save. On top of our everyday low prices, pros can save big when buying in bulk. Or if your purchase is over $1,500, ask about our volume savings program. A pro associate can provide a customized quote. Ask about our volume savings programs today. It always pays to be a pro at Lowe's. While supplies last, minimum purchase required. Selection varies by location. Lowe's reserves the right to limit quantities. Volume discount pricing quotes are valid up to 7 days. Visit your local pro desk to learn more and start saving. Offers subject to change may not be available in all Lowe's stores.
This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. When you're at your best, you can do great things. Working with a therapist can help you get closer to the best version of yourself. Because when you feel empowered, you're more ready for life's challenges. BetterHelp is a great therapy option. It's flexible, affordable, entirely online, and it matches you with a licensed therapist. Let therapy help empower you. Visit BetterHelp.com/tryit to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp.com/tryit.
Sponsored by Lowe's. Lowe's always has more ways for you to save. On top of their everyday low prices, pros can save big when buying in bulk. It always pays to be a pro at Lowe's. While supplies last, minimum purchase required. Selection varies by location. Lowe's reserves the right to limit quantities.
Let's text entitled with approved credit call 888-411-7640 for details. Now through President's Day, JT's Dodgeland gives you a $500 Visa gift card with every new vehicle purchase. And Dodgeland's loaded with Rams at South Carolina's Truck Giant. New 2022 Bighorn Ram up to $11,000 off. Drive for just $349 a month. New Chargers and Challengers save $5,000 below MSRP. Credit concerns? JT is the man who says yes. Dodgeland on Greystone, jtsdodge.com. President's Day sales event.
Metz Plumbing is growing and looking for exceptional plumbers and apprentices. If you enjoy helping people in our community, if you want a flexible work schedule, if you're looking to earn $85,000 to $100,000 per year, plus benefits and paid time off, if you want free training in order to become a licensed plumber, and if you're ready for a rewarding career as part of a family, then we want to talk to you. For information, call Tammy at 732-TRIP or apply online at metsplumbing.com.
732-TRIP.
This is Larry Leitner, owner and founder of Midstate Roofing. And
Robin, I'd have to go back and find it. Is this the one you're talking about, Robin? I don't.
Reminding you to protect that roof with a maintenance contract. Call me today at 803-356-1919 or online at midstateroofing.com.
Chances are next year up into a better team, so there's not sure. Yeah, I think Gigi's going. Gigi won't be here next year. Transfer. Of course, I said that about AJ Lawson as well. I never thought AJ Lawson would come back the way him and Frank interacted at times, and lo and behold, AJ Lawson came back for another year, which. All right, well, I feel like we're going to have no problem with the rest of the show.
You're running it in. We're good.
Place. Visit.
Type that back out though, Robin, because I'm still confused what you were asking me here. What is chance? I'm not. I know talent's talent, but I sure know a lot of coaches who will not try a player that helps like a toddler and doesn't work on a team. So not sure what his chances are next year up into a better team. People will take him. He'll transfer up. I see. He'll transfer up. He'll be able to go somewhere. Somebody will take him. One thing that people are going to have to kind of remember is Lamont's still a young coach. You're just struggling this morning. Who pots like a toddler? Just struggling. Just picking at you. All right. Let's make sure I remember to turn the volume up.
Confidence knowing Herndon Chevrolet has got you covered.
Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile.
The early game
With Bill Gunter, former Gamecock Preston Thorne, and Jen Jensen.
on your home of the Gamecocks.
107.5 The Game.
We got several things happening here on 107.5 The Game right after Heath Klein. Heath Klein, by the way, will be joining us. Did you tell Jen what music? Did y'all work out what intro music yesterday? There was one song that there was one band. Is it a band?
It was a band.
Is Imagine Dragons a band?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he's not a fan.
Dude, he basically said that he would not come in if we played Imagine Dragons as his. I mean, he went from a smile and happy-go-lucky Heath to like ready to slap Wes Mitchell in the back of the head, to punch Preston Thorne and storm out of our meeting yesterday when we mentioned Imagine Dragons. I thought his dislike for Luke Bryant was something serious. Luke Bryan. His dislike for Imagine Dragons well surpasses his dislike for Luke Bryan.
Isn't that interesting?
I was
pretty
shocked.
severe.
I was shocked by that. So if you ever want to torture Heath Klein, go to one of his remotes, take a boombox, and just during the breaks blare Imagine Dragons and Luke Bryan. Just blare them.
Would you want him to do that to you?
I love all genres of music. You should know this.
I know, but like
apparently I don't know Rihanna, but
well, yeah. But I mean, again, you're saying, "Oh, we'll do this." Would you want them to come out there with like?
I love the people, Jen. No, there's nothing that could offend me to answer your question.
So if somebody came
I
out with
wouldn't dare pout.
mayonnaise-covered
I wouldn't
donut-
dare pout if they were there.
Okay.
Love all the people.
Love all the people.
Mm-hmm. Most of them are all taller than me too, so I can't.
So they all do
I
look
can't
down
really
on
get
you.
mad at people for when they come and obnoxiously try to alter the show.
Well,
I do have you now beside me, so I do have a taller, more physically imposing guy.
That's when you pout. When you don't have any power, you pout.
107.5 The Game tonight. You can hear Carolina Calls with Mark Kingston at 6 o'clock. That'll be right after Heath Klein. Again, tomorrow night, Carolina Calls with Lamont Paris, 6 o'clock. Speaking of Lamont Paris, we've talked a lot about last night's loss to Vanderbilt, South Carolina. They fell behind 38-18 at halftime. They played better, I guess, in the second half, but they still lose 75-64. The G.G. Jackson situation and kind of his attitude, his public attitude. It's one thing to have it behind the scenes, right, Preston?
Absolutely.
One thing to have it behind the scenes. It's another to do it publicly. Let's get out to the Love Chevy Fun Lines. Barry wants to weigh in this morning on G.G. Jackson. Barry, how you doing? What's on your mind?
How you guys doing this morning?
What's up, Barry?
What's up? It's all good. Listen, this Jackson situation is gotten out of hand. I think going back, he should have been suspended. And I don't know if the higher ups or whatever decided that it wasn't the right thing to do to suspend him. But I do believe that we are getting the equivalent to a suspension from Lamont Paris here. We are getting equivalent to letting G.G. Jackson know he's not the only basketball player on this team. Now we've gone from him being a so-called attraction to a distraction. Would you agree, Preston, that right now he's a distraction to the team?
Very fair. I agree.
Okay. Now, one other thing I want to touch on. is that I have heard now, okay, he's 17. He's a kid. Well, now he just turned 18 in December, and I have to hear that every other word. He just turned 18 in December. Now, listen, yeah, I'm not going to do one of those things back in my day. But back in my day at 17, you know what myself and my friends were doing? We were waiting for our number to get called up, and in 6 weeks be in Vietnam. So I don't want to hear anything about a kid in today's day and age at 17 and 18 being a child, because you want to get in a foxhole with somebody you can trust. Preston, would you get in a foxhole with Gigi Jackson right now in a war?
As it appears on the outside, not right now, no.
Okay. So, what do you think that the future holds? I mean, do you think this kid's going to finish out with the team? If he transfers, he's got to wait out a year. I think he's got to sit out a year. But my point is this, that he is a Russell Westbrook, okay? You can have all the skills in the world, but if you're uncoachable, and coach, if you had a kid on your team like that, he would not be playing, would he?
No.
Okay. So, we got to cure this, get over this 17, 18-year-old crap. All right. The kid's supposed to be going to the NBA, and he's getting disciplined now. He doesn't like it, and he continues to cry like a baby. He's crying like a child, and I don't want to hear it no more. So he needs to grow up. And I think Paris is doing an outstanding job in playing him exactly the way he's using him right now, because I think it's the equivalent to a suspension and teaching him a lesson, and that's what he's there to do.
All right. Thank you for the phone call, Barry. 803-404-6100. How much of this is leadership? Now, this is hard. First-year coach, transfers coming in. How much of this is leadership? This would be a different conversation if this was year 5 of Lamont Paris and he'd had a guy as a freshman grow up to be a senior. But how much of this, Preston, in your time, is leadership from other players who maybe need to step in, pull GG aside? It's easy. Well, all right, Lamont Paris is the head coach, and there's others. None?
There's nobody can step in and pull him aside, because Gigi Jackson went to media day. He has been put forward as the face of this team. He was the one that was celebrated. There's nothing that anybody can. Josh Gray, Bosman, they can't say nothing to Gigi, and that's why it gets in the really. As a coach, your best situations is when your best player is the most bought-in player. Also, that's when you have your player who's the best player and he's pulling the team in the wrong direction. Even if the team decides that they want to separate from him, we still know that their real only viable path to victory is if this guy is playing well. So now there's nothing that there is no leadership void. I mean, Hayden Brown, whatever, man, you're 24-year-old. You just came from the Citadel, SoCon. You're not like me because I'm Gigi Jackson. And Gigi may not be the type of person to say that, but that's what it is. You can't tell me anything if we're not even on the same, we're not on the same level as far as athletically, and even more so when the program put this person forward as the face of the program. That's just not a situation. There's nobody. We kind of did this to ourselves.
Does that give you a little more respect? I don't know if respect's the right word, for what Shane Beamer did last year at Media Day with not sending Spencer Rattler?
Yeah, that's fair. Because I think that's if you're not one of the captains or not one of the people who has earned the right to be the face of the program, then no, you shouldn't be there.
By the way, last year, tongue-in-cheek, Shane Beamer said, well, if he's back next year, he'll come to me. Well, guess who's back?
He's back.
Guess who's coming to Media Day?
And he deserves to be the person that's there.
But that is, I mean, and again, we're talking, it's interesting this morning because part of the conversation is veered off to hiring of coaches and how Kirby Smart's hiring Mike Bobo, and you got Nick Saban, and how you run your program and what you feel comfortable doing. And I don't know if you look at this and you take a step back and you say, man, more credit to Shane Beamer for kind of, I don't know if shielding is the right word, but holding Spencer Rattler back from the media, not throwing him out there as the new face of the program, and like you said, taking him to Media Day, because that you put other guys in the spotlight. Who it was last year was Javon Gwynn, DeCarrion Joyner, who rightfully deserved to be there, and can somebody else help me on the third? Do we know the third?
I can't remember.
I'll see if I'll track it back down. I can't remember who the third was. I know we interviewed him too, so it speaks volumes to my memory back to July. But anyway, I think one thing that you take away from this is, yes, how Shane Beamer handled the Spencer Rattler situation last year, because the easiest thing in the world would have been to throw him back out there and say, hey, it's face of our program. 803-404-6100. Let's take one more real quick on the Love Chevy phone lines. Charles wants to weigh in this morning. Charles, I do have to ask, what's your go-to pouting maneuver? If you've got one, what's your go-to pouting maneuver?
I think it probably is a lot like yours. I remind people of the benefit of getting me what I want.
Yeah. What you got on your mind this morning?
I'll just constantly chirp in your ear. It'd be a lot better if we had that. It'd be a lot better if we did that. Yeah. So.
We're kindred spirits, my man. All right, good to hear. All right, what you got this morning?
Aggressive pouting, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, hey, I just wanted to point something out. And this is. I don't know GG Jackson. I don't know the players on the team, so I'm not going to judge that. But I'll judge what I see, and I'll also judge past experience with good players. So last night we scored 12 points in the first half, correct?
18.
Okay.
18,
All right.
yeah.
For some reason I thought it was 12 when I turned it on.
38. Yeah, 38-18 was the halftime score.
Okay. So long story short, you ever watch a pro game and you hear a really good player and the first thing you always say is he's going to get his points. He's going to get his points. No matter what they do, he's going to get his points. Well, GG Jackson might be a great player, might have talent. GG Jackson's also skinny as a rail compared to the people he's playing against right now. I'm not saying this because he's young. I'm just saying this because he has not physically matured to the point where he can really get in there and compete. He gets overpowered on a regular basis. So I don't understand his pouting. He needs to get himself in the weight room and work and put in the effort instead of just thinking, oh, because I'm GG Jackson, I'm going to be able to do something. He's obviously proven he's not capable of competing on a all-American basis, on any kind of basis yet that matters. And I mean, if the coach wants to sit him, he should sit because there are other players producing better. And if the guy transfers out, then he transfers out because I mean we're not going to lose anything other than a potential talent, and potential doesn't really measure that much when it comes to scoring. Potential doesn't score. Really realizing talent scores. So I'm kind of over this whole drama of this kid and ready for him to either put up or shut up. And that's about all I have to say.
Appreciate the phone call, Charles. I'm glad somebody else takes my approach to pouting much in a similar fashion. We'll come back.
You're an obnoxious powder. I mean,
if you would just let me pout, then you know what? It wouldn't happen anymore.
But to me, pouting.
There's no need for that kind of attitude. I'm a very good pouter. I'm very good at what I do. And you know what? When I do it, I improve your game as well.
See, when you pout,
there's no need for that.
To me, you should be
no need
away for your
it's just you're
by yourself.
I mean, if you would just let me do my show, I'd be fine.
Oh my god!
Wouldn't have to deal with these.
See, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start pouting like I did when I was 3.
It'd be fine if you just let me do the show. We'd have a good show.
Have you missed any of the early game?
You can catch up by going to the early game on demand page at 1075thegame.com.
Or by downloading our 1075 The Game app on iTunes or Google Play.
Sponsored by Lexington Orthopedics and Sports Medicine. If you're dealing with injuries or pain, our team is here to get you better sooner.
You want to know something to truly pout about? It's when you come home during the summer, you're ready to jump in the pool, but it's dirty. It's messy because the kids have done all kinds of weird things in there. And now the pool is a disaster and you need it cleaned, but you don't want to spend your time or hard-earned money going to the pool store to do it. That's where you get the professionals. That's right. Tracy Corley and Corley Pool Solutions are ready to help you this morning. Get in touch with them, 803-445-8109, and take advantage of one of the best, if not the best, pool maintenance companies in the Midlands. With over 20 years of experience, Tracy Corley will make sure that pool looks fantastic. He will inspect your pool equipment weekly to make sure it's operating properly. They'll test, treat, and they will maintain your pool at flat rate cost, which includes all of the chemicals. You find a company that can do it better than that. That's right. Tracy Corley and Corley Pool Solutions, with that experience, with that dedication, they're going to make sure that you will never pout because you will come home to a nice, clean pool. Give them a phone call today, 803-445-8109. Again, it is more affordable for you to use Corley Pool Solutions to prevent expensive damage to pool equipment, to help balance pool chemicals and to save you time and money than it is for you to go to the pool store yourself. So contact Corley Pool Solutions today. 803-445-8109. That's Corley Pool Solutions.
SEC Women's Basketball Tournament is tipping off in Greenville, South Carolina, March 1st through 5th. Catch all the action as we crown a champion. For more information and to purchase your tickets, visit secsports.com. SEC Women's Basketball, it just means more.
Text entitled with approved credit call 866-243-4623 for details. Now through President's Day, JT gives you a $500 Visa gift card with every new vehicle purchase at Jeep Dodge Ram. And if you're trying to reestablish credit, this is a perfect way to do it because JT has the power to say you're approved. Take advantage of the lowest prices on Jeeps right now, up to $7,500 off. Rams up to $11,000 off. Drive for just $349 a month. JT's Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram, 378 Lexington. JT'sJeep.com.
After being almost $500,000 in tax debt, I was listening to the radio one day and heard a ad for John Ecton Law Firm. So I gave him a call and met with him, and he gave me the confidence to trust him after the reason behind my tax problems anyways was trusting someone I probably should have never trusted. He did everything he said he was going to do, and then some. His staff at the office were great, very knowledgeable. With John's help, I have no tax debt now, and I was able to have a family that otherwise I would have never been able to have.
It's great to know we have changed people's lives for the better. Hi, this is local attorney John Ecton with the Ecton Law Firm. For over a decade, our office has been dedicated to helping hardworking individuals and businesses solve tax problems for good. So if you have years of unfiled tax returns or are facing IRS wage levies, bank levies, or tax liens, call our office today at 771-9800 or go to EctonLawFirm.com. That's ECTON lawfirm.com. Let's get your tax problem solved for good. Call today. You'll be glad you did.
Washington led the revolution. Lincoln saved the nation. Now, Galliana Chrysler Jeep is making history with double the customer cash rebate. Gotta go to Galliana. Double the customer cash rebate at Galliana Chrysler Jeep. And exclusive of that offer, lease a 2022 Jeep Compass with zero down, just $379 per month. Or finance a new Jeep Compass at 2.9 APR for 60 months. Plus, get $5,000 off. Lease a new Grand Cherokee, Wrangler, or Chrysler Pacifica Hybrid and get $10,000 off. New Chrysler and Jeeps with zip, zero, nothing down, and zero payments for the next 3 months. Or double the customer cash rebate. President's Day sales event at Galliana Chrysler Jeep on Greystone. I-126 Zoo exit in Columbia. Call 779-7300 or GallianaSC.com. Compass stock number 29165. 42-month lease, zero down, plus tax and tag due at signing. Includes $225 closing fee, no security deposit. $17.92 per thousand borrowed for 60 months at 2.9 APR with zero down. Subject to lender approval. Offers to combine expires with that.
Artists for Africa USA will hold its annual postcard art event Thursday, February 16th at the Hilton Garden Inn in Columbia. Local, regional, and nationally known artists have submitted over 200 pieces of original artwork for sale. It's a wonderful opportunity to discover new artists, take home a great piece by a known artist, and give hope to underprivileged children through the arts. Tickets to the event are $35 in advance, $40 at the door. Available at A4AUSA.org. That's A4AUSA.org.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
107.5 The Game traffic, sponsored by the South Carolina Department of Corrections.
South Carolina Department of Corrections is hiring statewide with huge pay raises. Correctional officers can now make $50,000 plus in their first year. Officers must be at least 18 years of age. Visit joinscdc.com to apply.
WIS-TV First Alert Traffic on 107.5 The Game.
We have a few incidents that we're watching on First Alert Traffic. First one's in Saluda County, SC 391. That's 3 miles from the traffic circle. Also in, again, Orangeburg County, there's another incident on Savannah Highway. Cross Street would be Hebron Road. That's another collision. And then one more that we're keeping a close eye on in Lexington, I-26 westbound over by exit 91. Watch out for some slowdowns due to some construction. Other than that, we are looking good this morning on First Alert Traffic.
What we're talking about on 107.5 The Game.
Sponsored by Love Chevrolet.
Reminder, coming up on Friday, it is the opening of baseball season against you. Yeah, it's a sign. Now, we've got some nice weather, but it's a sign that spring is truly around the corner. Preston, I'll go ahead and tell you, just warm you up for this. Now, you played baseball, so let's not act like you're like, oh, what is that sport? What do we do now? How do we play this game?
Dude, you're holding on to me. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Love it. My favorite sport.
Really?
Baseball was my favorite sport growing up.
I love it when the listeners get to learn stuff that at the same time Jen and I do about you. Like, oh, how about that?
Yeah, that was my favorite sport growing up for sure. 100%.
Baseball, 100%. Good. That's cool. What positions?
First base, lefty first baseman. My favorite deal.
Nice.
So do you, because I bring this up Friday. I mean, look, spring, there's 3 steps to spring for me. Okay. South Carolina, the opening of South Carolina baseball, which is this Friday. We'll give you tickets coming up in the next segment. We'll do it in the next segment here. The one after this, we'll give you a chance to win tickets. So hang around for a few more minutes with us. But the opening of South Carolina baseball season, the time change. The time change.
Can we make that go away? Yeah, this is the rough one.
This is the rough one.
And then honestly, the first Thursday of March Madness.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Like after the first Thursday of March Madness, I'm like, it's here. Like by the time we hit Masters, I'm like, oh, it's summertime. Like, yeah, it's pollen, summer. It's 98 degrees with no humidity. But coming up on Friday, opening of South Carolina's baseball season, 3:45 pregame, 4 p.m. first pitch. You can hear Mark Kingston tonight at 6 p.m. And we'll have Jamie Bradford on throughout the year. John Whittle will join us. I'm sure Kip Bulknight will be a part of the program as well. There's no other way around it. It's a big season for Mark Kingston. I sat here in the chair last spring, and Patrick was with me, and we read the text lines, we got the phone calls. I get it. I got it. I understand. South Carolina baseball has a standard to uphold. Mark Kingston is the head man for that standard right now, and has got to do something really good this year. But you can hear Mark Kingston tonight, 6 o'clock, Carolina Calls, right here on 107.5 The Game. And again, opening day coming up on Friday, 3:45 pregame, 4 o'clock first pitch, right here on 107.5 The Game.
Actually, I don't think that Terry Ford is as big of a baseball fan, at least not collegiate, because he said something about, I got to get used to being here because this market, they love their collegiate baseball and stuff like that. And I noticed on the little promos, he had said first tip.
Oh, yeah.
Or tip. Yeah, first tip.
You also know what Friday means.
So I changed it.
3-4 o'clock, who you get to hear. I believe I could be wrong about this, but it's the return of Tommy Moody calling baseball games.
Love that.
There you go.
That's like baseball, hot dogs, Tommy Moody.
There you go. Baseball and corn dogs.
Yes.
Corn dogs at a baseball game. 803-40.
No, just regular hot dogs.
And Steven on our live stream just is this going to be factual what I'm about to read? Steven says Preston, the Mark Grace of his team. I thought you were leading the fan base or leading the Mark Grace bandwagon from the year.
Mark Grace was solid, man. Mark Grace, Ryan Sandberg. I love those Cubs teams.
I love that. That was a great era, and I had an opportunity to go to the field for an internship that I did and got to meet them and stuff like that. But Ryan Sandberg was a pork chop. Like, he was turning his head. I wanted to record them to do birthday wishes for the station I was working for. Every time I looked his way, man, he turned his back. I'm like, dude, well, I mean, okay, you can throw a ball, blah, blah, blah. But I was really disappointed in that he was just kind of like, oh, I got him. Don't you worry.
Well, we'll move him over to the bad list now. Get out of here, Ryan Sandberg.
Yeah, he was still a good player. I just had that one incident. That was
just that one incident. Yeah, that one incident. 803-404-6100. A lot of topics covered this morning. One of them is your go-to pouting move.
Mm-hmm.
Anonymous texter weighing in and just says, real men don't pout. No, I beg to differ.
There you go.
I beg to differ on that one.
I'm sure there's a lot of people whose partners are like, yeah, right.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, real men, but when you go out into that shed and you just go out there by yourself, that's probably a form of pouting.
I would think.
Or you're out there tinkering with your car for the last hour That's that you're pouting.
And John from Somerville, don't pout, be a man. Lighten up. There's pouting. There's pouting. Pouting's okay in this world. It's no crying in baseball is what y'all are thinking of. No crying in baseball. Pouting is okay.
Oh, y'all are misinformed if you think men don't pout.
Yeah.
Now my style of pouting changed. When I was little, I would put on, even if it was summertime, I guess I would put on a snowsuit, and then I would crawl behind like this one chest and like take a nap. I was reminded of this recently.
I don't think that's pouting. I think that's being a good child. Your parents have to deal with you for a couple hours.
Well, that could be, but no. I mean, I would be mad, so I'd be like, okay, I'm gonna put my snowsuit on, even though it's 80 degrees, and I don't know. But now if I pout, it's just I'm not talking to you. But I tell you what, things get done in the house because I'm just like yeah.
That's one. People out there, when you see your house getting cleaned up very quickly, you might want to be on alert. You might want to be on alert. There might be something a brew in your house.
Yeah, for some reason.
It's like, this house is really clean today.
She was mad yesterday or this morning. She was.
Watch out.
803-404-6100. Heath Klein set to join us in the next hour. We'll give you.
I can't wait to find out Heath's pouting. Preferred pouting.
Well, you want to find out? We can find out. All we gotta do is play Imagine Dragons or Luke Bryan, and we will find out what Heath Klein how he pout. I think Heath is more of he just stares at you with kind of the only way I can describe it is the Heath Klein face. Just the Heath Klein. You get the Heath Klein face. It's amusement and annoyance and sarcasm without saying a word, and he somehow combines all three of those into one Heath Klein face that he is able to give you. We'll test Heath's limits in the next hour. We'll also talk to him about this SEC scheduling thing because I do find that interesting. I want to get into that. We'll get back into the basketball as well. Coming up in the next segment, we'll give you a chance to win tickets to the opening day over at Founders Park on Friday against UMass Lowell as the Gamecocks open up Mark Kingston's big season. We'll talk about that. 803-404-6100. You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game.
Got something to say?
Ring us up on the Love Chevy phone line. South Carolina's #1 volume Chevy dealer.
At 803-404-6100.
Your home of the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game.
Sponsored by Jackson Hewitt. Jackson Hewitt gets you your biggest tax refund guaranteed, plus a chance to double your refund or win weekly prizes with their Double Your Refund sweepstakes. File your taxes on the double. No purchase necessary. U.S. residents 18 or older who file a 2022 federal tax return. Ends 4/2/23.
Life matters. He is the smallest, most unpromising boy in my class. These words were spoken by a very discouraged public school teacher.
Do you want to record anything?
Too much in life. But 50 years later, the most unpromising boy in that class was overwhelmingly selected as the greatest Frenchman alive. At age 73, a national holiday was declared in his honor. Louis Pasteur, the famous scientist, is a reminder that even the weakest of us can be mightily used by God to achieve remarkable things. Concerning Israel's King David and his clash with Goliath, someone wrote, "When others saw a shepherd boy, God saw a king." Never underestimate what God can do with a man or woman who will live life in partnership with heaven. All God needs is a partner, and he will accept those of us who seem unpromising. This is Stephen Chitty, pastor of Christian Life. Find out more by contacting us at ChristianLifeColumbia.com. And remember, life matters, and so do you. Go to CLColumbia.com for in-person and live streaming service times.
Plus text entitled with approved credit call 888-411-7640 for details. Now through President's Day, JT's Dodgeland gives you a $500 Visa gift card with every new vehicle purchase. And Dodgeland's loaded with Rams at South Carolina's Truck Giant. New 2022 Bighorn Ram up to $11,000 off. Drive for just $349 a month. New Chargers and Challengers save $5,000 below MSRP. Credit concerns? JT is the man who says yes. Dodgeland on Greystone, jtsdodge.com. President's Day sales event.
South Carolina Department of Corrections is hiring sergeants and lieutenants statewide. If you have correctional, security, military, or police experience, you can join SCDC as a sergeant or lieutenant. There's $7,500 sign-on bonuses, increased pay, and great employee benefits available. Start your new year off with a new career. Visit joinscdc.com to apply today or call 803-734-JOBS for more information.
This is Larry Leitner, owner and founder of Midstate Roofing. And for nearly 30 years, we've continued to be the proven leader in the roofing and waterproofing industry. Midstate Roofing's proven history is your assurance that our professionals at Midstate Roofing will provide the proper advice, service, and results to the needs of your facility in a manner both safe and pleasing to your operation. From high-rise to hospitals, manufacturing to industrial, Midstate Roofing designs and installs bonded systems with a protective guarantee that will keep your operation dry and running long into the future. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
And this is Blake Leitner, reminding you to protect that roof with a maintenance contract. Call me today at 803-356-1919 or online at midstateroofing.com. That's midstateroofing.com.
You'll speak to an on-call technician after hours or a Midstate Roofing staff member during hours at 803-356-1919 or online at midstateroofing.com. And as always, tell them Midstate Twins.
If you have a leak, let Midstate Roofing take a peek.
O'Reilly. Count on the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts to recommend the best products for your vehicle and budget. Get maximum cooling system performance for 10 years or 300,000 miles with peak long life universal premixed antifreeze and coolant. Now just $6.99 after mail-in rebate. Plus, get 2 times O Rewards points. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts today.
York, I'll read your pouting story on air.
I'm gonna but I'm gonna call in tomorrow. It's gonna be on the road.
Okay.
No, I won't. I'll be on the road. I'll be stationary, but I'll be in Myrtle Beach.
Okay, you're leaving tonight? Oh, I hate that. I was hoping you'd be here for Tony.
Yeah.
Are you back on Friday?
Yep.
I may see if he can move to Friday.
Okay.
I'll text him this afternoon because I'd like both of y'all to be in studio the first time.
Must be at least 18 years of age. Visit joinscdc.com to apply.
WIS-TV First Alert Traffic on 107.5 The Game.
Farm Road at Peanut Road, we do have a report of an accident. Also, the left lane is blocked. I-20 eastbound there, exit 92.
Are you going to do everything straight from your phone tomorrow, or? Huh?
That's all I got.
They're not going to. Did you act well?
I didn't ask for one, but
You might want to just check.
I'll check on that.
It's a little bit easier if you know how to set it up and everything.
We can do that next time. Whenever the next time will be.
Honestly, I mean, if you want, it just depends on what you want to do. Are you going to school tomorrow?
Yeah.
We all start at 8 o'clock.
We'll start at 9 tomorrow.
Okay. We'll talk about it.
Shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile. The early game with Phil Kutcher, Preston Ford, and Shin Hansen on your home of the game.
Right now, a chance to win a pair of tickets to Friday's 4 p.m. first pitch, South Carolina baseball, UMass Lowell, Founders Park. Will Sanders will be on the mound. We'll take caller number 3, like there's 3 outs in baseball. Caller number 3, Jen, 803-404-6100 is how you can weigh in and win those tickets. Caller number 3, because there's 3 outs in baseball, so that would seem to make sense. You can win a pair of tickets to Friday's season opener over at Founders Park against UMass Lowell, 4 p.m. first pitch time. Plan accordingly. A couple of you weighing in on our pouting discussion. Your go-to pouting maneuver, although LaDonna, I don't know if on our Firehouse subtext line, have you ever heard this? She's got it. It sounds, I don't know if this is her line. I don't know if this is a line used in sports. It was never used on me. Pout, no play. Okay.
It sounds like something I would say to my toddler.
It sounds like something's hanging over the back of the toilet in the family bathroom. Like it's just letting you know, if you pout, no play. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Steven weighs in on our live stream. He says, my pouting move is to throw tantrum, kick dirt, and storm off.
Mm-hmm.
Got to have some dirt around.
Always
for that.
good a storm. A good storm off never hurt anybody.
And I feel like this is a very go-to move. York says he was a country boy, but I feel like this is a go-to move for a lot of pouters out there. He says, as a country boy, I pouted by getting my big stick and going into the woods to hack at bushes.
Again, there are ways that we can get this thing out there's several of them. Mm-hmm.
So we will we'll obviously we'll cut up about that if you've got your pouting go to 803-404-6100 if your significant other does not agree with your dinner plans or the movie you want to see or whatever it may be. Then okay, what do you do to pout and try and get your way? 803-404-6100. Next hour, Heath Klein will join us and we'll get into I've been kind of teasing it. And it's not so much a story that you need to hear about, but a kind of a conversation I want to have with Preston and Heath about who should dictate, who should really have kind of final say in this upcoming schedule change for the SEC. And I think your initial reaction is to be, oh, the SEC should. It's their league. Well, if you're buying the product, Preston, if ESPN, ABC, Disney, they're paying for it, they're the ones that want the matchup. And I say this because Andy Staples wrote an article about it, and one of the games that just jumped out to me is a Florida-Oklahoma yearly matchup. And it got me thinking, like, yeah, I mean, if I'm ABC, ESPN, I don't want Alabama Vanderbilt to be a yearly game. That's not going to be any good. That's not going to be an ABC primetime 3:30, whatever game. You want Alabama? I mean, I'm not going to say you're going to throw them against Oklahoma, LSU, and Auburn every year, but you do want some of these marquee matchups that you can set up a little bit more than say. And that's why he's got South Carolina taking on Vanderbilt in here. Let's be honest, South Carolina Vanderbilt will never be a primetime ABC or 3:30 game.
Yeah, I'm of the announcement that he who holds the gold is the one who controls it.
If you're paying, that's why I wonder. ESPN might look at the SEC and go, "Hey, we're going to pay you extra money for this." There's a couple matchups we won't on a yearly basis. We'll try and get to those. 803-404-6100. Hour 3 on the way.
WNKT FM, Eastover, Columbia.
This is Gamecock quarterback Spencer Rattler, and you're listening to 107.5 The Game, the home of the Gamecocks.
A Cumulus media station.
Pulliam Restoration means business. Worried about the well-being of your property? Partner with Pulliam Restoration, Columbia's largest and most well-known mitigation company. Flood, fire, mold, we have it covered. I'm Robert Pulliam. If you're a property manager or owner, call Pulliam Restoration for all your mitigation needs. At Pulliam Restoration, we have the guaranteed fastest response time and pride ourselves on getting to you in minutes, not hours. It's your choice who you use. Choose Pulliam Restoration. We're ready 24/7. Pulliam247.com or call us at 803-PULLIAM.
Thousands of people around the Midlands had their credit damaged during the pandemic. Now, as they attempt to reestablish credit, they find themselves being turned down. JT wants to help, and he has the power to say, you're approved. Take advantage of the lowest prices on Jeeps right now, up to $7,500 off. Rams up to $11,000 off. You can drive for just $349 a month and help your credit. JT's Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram, 378 Lexington, jtsjeep.com.
Susan, I'm sorry I'm late. Traffic is terrible.
It sure is. But on top of that, gas prices have been skyrocketing. I can't believe how expensive gas has gotten recently.
Prices at the pump are up, but I never pay full price for gas anymore. I just use the free Upside app that pays you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get paid cash when you buy gas with the Upside app?
Yes, I get real cash back every time I buy gas.
Does that actually add up to anything?
I've made around $200.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the free Upside app now.
Download the free Upside app to earn real cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code READY for an extra 25 cents per gallon cash back on your first fill up. You can cash out anytime right to your bank account, to PayPal, or any gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code READY for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code READY for 25 cents per gallon cash back on your first
Hey,
fill.
Scott here from Traditions Fine Jewelers. Everybody knows that we have the best selection of engagement ring styles in the Southeast, with over 1,000 styles to choose from. What amazes folks is that we also have the best prices. How do we do that? In Mine Diamonds, by working directly with site holders, the cutting companies that buy their rough diamonds directly from De Beers. And in the lab-grown diamonds, by working directly with laboratories that actually grow and cut the diamonds. No middlemen, better prices, only at Traditions Fine Jewelry.
Spectrum Business is the no-nonsense way for small businesses to stay connected with fast, reliable internet service and Spectrum Business Connect, the all-in-one app to make calls, host video conferences, and send texts. Connect to customers from any device, anywhere. Get both and get one mobile line free for 1 year. No contracts, no hidden fees, no nonsense. Just business. Visit spectrum.com/business today. Restrictions apply. Services not available in all
What's
areas.
up, Gamecock Nation? Ben Cato, Cato's Power Equipment. Hey, whatever your New Year's resolution is, I doubt it's to spend more time pushing that lawnmower this summer. So come to Cato's. Let Jeremy and the team set you up with an industry-leading zero-turn mower.
Hey, Matt Stedman here. Our service department genuinely takes pride in being the best at fixing the best. Our selections from Toro, Aaron's, and Gravely are not designed for downtime.
Cato's Power Equipment, 4012 West Beltline Boulevard, or online at catospowerequipment.com.
What we're talking about on 107.5 The Game.
Sponsored by the power of Love Chevrolet, Tahoe, Silverado, Suburban, Colorado. If your dreams for the new year include cruising around town in your brand new Chevy, look no further than South Carolina's #1 volume Chevy dealer. Love Chevy, I-26 at Harbison and at lovechevy.com. Find new roads. The early game
with Bill Gunter.
Come to on this new program that we have now, the three of us. If you need yard work done, if you want some hedging, some weed eating, some trimming of the, you call Jen.
Yes.
If you need cooking, you call Bill. Where do you fit in on this, Preston?
Former Gamecock Preston Thorne.
Yeah, but I can cook pretty well too.
Oh, okay. Nice.
I'm pretty solid at on the stove. I don't love baking because you got to measure. So I'm not here for that very often, but I can cook pretty well. I can do some things on the grill, so I'm solid in the kitchen.
And Jen Jensen.
on your home of the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game.
Well, this is Eminem. It is not Imagine Dragons and or Luke Bryan, who I was personally pulling for us to play, as Heath Klein stormed in. Because Heath, the first question we have to ask you this morning as we get up and get going is, what is the Heath Klein go-to mode for pouting when you don't get your favorite barbecue restaurant on your vacation?
You're implying I ever don't get what I want?
Okay,
maybe just maybe I control the relationship a little bit better than some of you folks. Didn't think about that, did you?
I have a phone call I need to make right now just to verify some some information.
Yeah, you want to step out and get on the cell phone and come back with some information for. So the so you're the man's man of the group in here.
Of course,
the one that we've got in the table. Real men. We got the
look at me. Just I radiate power and control, gentlemen. Everyone knows this. I don't know though. I'm pretty lucky, man. I don't have that many times. I don't know that I would have any kind of signature like pout move.
But maybe not now. But maybe let's go. Maybe 17 to 16-year-old Heath.
Oh, I'm sure I was some sullen jerk like lots of teenagers are. But like the biggest thing with us is if we don't have fights really, but if we have a disagreement on something, we're kind of both the same way, which is basically just, all right, we're just gonna put this aside. We'll come back. Like we don't have big blowouts. So if we're just one of those times where you're like talking yourselves in circles and stuff, it's not like, okay, I'm storming out. It's more just kind of, all right, we're getting nowhere here. We'll come back this in an hour. It's probably stupid anyway.
Yeah, it's normally where I get into the full snarky mode of just reminding, just full on like, well, I've watched too many Dave Chappelle's or Burt Kreischers or where the little zingers. And then anonymous texter weighs in, and you're his favorite. He says, "Tell him, Heath, real men don't pout. No pouting in sports talk radio."
Well, the problem for me was my default on stuff. If we had like a disagreement, would be like, okay, fine, no problem.
That is pouting right there. Just
it was like, hey, okay, I'm not going to worry about this. This is not a big enough deal. Like, if my wife suddenly said, "Hey, I want us to move to Macon, Georgia," and I want to, I want to live right by your old alma mater, Mercer University, where you spent the first miserable year of your college life. I want to take us back to the Mercer days. Let's get us a condo right next to Mercer. All right. Well, now I'm ready. I'll fight on that way. But if it's and this is the kind of stuff I swear she's got like supersonic hearing. So like if I'm in there like typing, or I like use the mouse or something. Why are you clicking? Like, it's a computer. That's how you use it. You click. You know, stop clicking. At that point, it's like, okay. Yeah, but then we get to the no, don't say okay. I'm like, no, I literally just gave you what you want. We're going to say okay here. And, so at that point, once we realized, okay, that is not an effective mechanism, then we just moved on to, okay, we're just going to split. We're just going to, everybody to the corners here.
Just retreat.
Yeah. Which direction does the dog go? That's the question. Who does the dog side with? Or does the dog go, I got the couch to myself?
Dog, that would probably be what the dog, we don't have one at the moment, but that's what the dog, when we have one, would have probably done.
We bring this up. It's funny to talk about in terms of, but obviously last night, South Carolina falls again, 75-64. Real quick, because I got this text message and I wanted to go back into it. This is from way earlier in the program from Richard about the job Jerry Stackhouse is doing. I'm not a huge, I like Jerry Stackhouse. I have not been impressed with the job he's done at Vanderbilt, but they've won 4 in a row. Now, it should come with a caveat. They lost like the previous game before this 4-game win streak by nearly 60. They got beat by Alabama like 101-44, I think. Alabama's doing that to some teams. But Jerry Stackhouse has been at Vanderbilt for 4 years. 3 wins in SEC play. 3 wins, 7 last year. He's got 7 this year. And I only bring this up because I wanted to do it earlier. Is Jerry Stackhouse a model for what South Carolina fans should be patient with Lamont Paris in terms of building this program back?
I don't know. I wouldn't say so. I think Vanderbilt's a different job than this job. I think it's a different challenge. Better or worse, they've had good success there through the years with a bunch of different coaches. They never broke it through and had a monster year, but they were pretty consistently with Kevin Stallings, at least a tournament contender and making the tournament fairly steadily. Things at the end with him, for whatever reason, it just got super toxic. I mean, you look at how it ended there, and then you look at how it went for him in Pittsburgh. It just seems like there was some point where people were like, hey, man, we are so over you. Like, you as a dude, you're just not meant for these times. Get out of here. But I mean, back to the days when Eddie Fogler was there, they've always had pretty good levels of success. Like, it's not been often the Vanderbilt's just been straight up trash as a team. They're not always a tournament team, but they're always pretty good. South Carolina obviously has had some peak moments, but has had a lot of years when in SEC play, they just haven't competed very well. So I'm not sure it's a great job analogy to South Carolina. I think you also have the academics to sell there that may get you a certain kind of player that I'm not taking a shot at South Carolina's academics, but I'm not sure you're going to win just a battle by saying, hey, we've got academics here against the other schools you're competing with. Vanderbilt, you might get a kid or two that way. Stackhouse being an NBA guy, I don't know for sure how he got Scottie Pippen Jr., but it probably doesn't hurt to have those kind of connections. I'm not sure it's a good analogy for what Paris is trying to do here.
So then that brings us to what Preston and I have kind of talked about this morning. Preston was in the middle, just right in the middle of a rebuild himself when you entered at South Carolina with Lou Holtz and coming off of 0-11 or coming off of 0-11 and seeing that and to put Preston's thoughts and opinions on what he saw with something you've talked about a lot about, Heath. It was great to land G.G. Jackson back last summer, but you even kind of questioned, like, all right, you got to kind of cater to this guy for 1 year and showcase him while maybe not doing necessarily what you want to build the foundation. I might be putting kind of words in your mouth, but it was something that effect.
It's conflicting goals.
I'll let you two kind of
really
debate that, because now we sit here on February 15th and there's a lot of people that are looking at GG's attitude and his production. And I love listening to Lamont Paris talk, because even last night he said, hey, I'm playing the guys who give me the best chance to win. And GG Jackson, I'm paraphrasing, but we'll play that audio back in a minute. He's basically saying, I'm playing the guys who give me the best chance to win. GG Jackson was not in the lineup down the stretch against Mississippi. He was not in a lot in the second half last night when South Carolina outscored Vanderbilt. We can attest that to a couple of different things. But Preston, you and Heath can kind of discuss your relationship with seeing a rebuild, but also players coming in that want more. And Heath, how you handle this GG Jackson situation to continue to develop the foundation you need.
Well, Heath, you said this idea of conflicting goals. Can you expound on that? What do you mean by that?
On the one hand, long term, if South Carolina is going to get the kids they want to get, the in-state kids, you landed GG Jackson. So now everybody for the next few years that you're trying to recruit, whatever his story turns out to be, that's going to be their point of reference for how this staff, this program deals with talented in-state kids. So you need him to have a successful year on the court, a successful year and getting drafted as high as possible in the NBA. You need this to end well. And look, in a perfect world, you'd have a kid that understands that it's all about your contributions in every way, not just scoring. Every freshman that comes to college always judges themselves first on scoring. I've never had a coach tell me once that they haven't had to try and convince these kids, because again, they're the best player. They're used to being able to put 25, 30 up routinely, and now suddenly you're in college and you might be a guy who's an occasional bucket guy, but you're not the main guy. But they've got to get them to understand doing all these other things well is how you contribute, and eventually you get to be bucket guy. You got a guy here who I'm sure is being told by people around him, hey, you need to have big numbers for the NBA. So he's got one set of goals that are understandable. You are trying to simultaneously give him the best possible experience to have the best case for those future recruits, while also laying groundwork for what your program is going to be over the next 2-3 years. And you're trying to do it with a kid that you will never have a Gigi Jackson talent come drop into your lap again in the next 2 to 3 years. That's just not going to happen. It's just a really tough set of circumstances. And it seems like Paris now is sort of steering in towards more, okay, I'm going to just focus on the framework for next year. I'm done trying to accomplish the first goal. And that might be better for him for year 2. But if you screw up the relationship with Gigi Jackson and cost yourself recruits the next 3 or 4 years, you may be short-term laying good groundwork for year 2, but not helping yourself very much for years 3 or 4.
Let me ask both of you this. Having coached AAU, having coached high school, being in the community, still knowing people, this is where I think the big question becomes. In this scenario, you've got a local high school star. You got a first-year head coach who has been to an NCAA tournament, but doesn't have kind of the, what do you want to call it, the cachet, the aura of Frank Martin, okay? And Frank was a big presence. You're trying to recruit this city. You're trying to recruit this state. When the local star, when this happens, who do you think, guys like Cam Scott, guys like, say, a Julian Phillips in the past, who do y'all think, Preston, I'll start with you as a player, in stuff like this happen, do they side, do other players, other upcoming recruits, because Heath, you just brought it up, you kind of needed this to work well, because one of the big complaints of the Frank Martin era was, well, you didn't recruit the state very well. Guys were leaving left and right. Now you get a great opportunity. Preston, as a former player, when you were 16, 17, and you were watching, I'm trying to think of guys who may have come out of the low country that you were paying attention to. Who do you think local kids side with more, the coach or the experience they hear about from the 5-star player?
They're always going to go with their teenagers. They're always going to go with their peers. Whatever the adults say is going to have less of an impact on any teenager than what their teenagers are saying. They're going to go on and say, how was it playing for that dude? And they're going to wait for the report back. And with that report, they'll start forming opinions. Now, they can go recruit and they can tell them what they're going to do with this program. And they might be able to explain that situation. But ultimately, it's going to come down to what is the guy who I look up to, who I want to emulate, or who I want to be like, what does he have to say about the situation?
And look, who knows? Maybe by the end of the season, maybe Gigi Jackson will have done whatever he needs to do to get back into Paris's better graces, and he'll have a couple of big games at the end, and he goes and he's a lottery pick, and eventually everybody's happy. But right now, there's no question. Things don't look awesome. And the bigger thing, too, is the NBA is going to draft him off of talent. They're not going to draft him off of what he is as a player. So when somebody sends us a text or calls it, he's not ready. No kidding, he's not ready. That's not the point. They're not drafting him with the idea he's going to play big minutes next year, be a major contributor in the NBA. What they're drafting him off of is what they think he can be. But at the same time, you don't want to see his game go backwards while you're coaching him. And right now, I mean, he's just jacking up threes. This is a guy who can get to the bucket. That has to change. Like, somehow or other, somebody's got to get through to him. And if it's not Paris, maybe I don't know if it could be high school coach, if it could be parents. I don't know who he listens to, and I don't know who he trusts. But somebody's got to get through to him and say, hey, man, right now, you're short-circuiting your own possibilities a little bit. This is not the game they're going to want you to play. You are not a three-point gunner. That is not what anybody sees as your future. Shooting range is good, but what makes you special is what you could do a lot closer to the basket than that.
Yeah, I mean, I turned into the game, tuned in, and they were down by maybe 14 or 15, and Gigi was at the top of the key, sort of dribbling. And there was maybe 15 seconds left on the shot clock, and he chucked one up from 28 feet, and it was a bad shot. It hit the side of the backboard. And it just looked really, really, he didn't look in rhythm and didn't look anything that was beneficial to him or the team. And so you're right. Your game cannot go backwards in this moment. What would be most beneficial for him is to play well, and that should also benefit the team. And so they need to figure out where their goals are aligned to move forward.
I want to get to some other stuff with both of y'all this morning, but I do want to come back to this topic because what you just said, I don't know if that's what's important here. And I'll explain why when we come back. 803-404-6100 is the early game. 107.5 The Game.
We are very social.
At 107.5 The Game on Twitter, 107.5 The Game on Instagram, and 107.5 The Game on Facebook.
Oh, Teddy, did you get my friend request? I'll have to check.
Your home of the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game.
This is Boomer Esiason with the CBS Sports Minute, sponsored by TaxSlayer. Start filing for free today at TaxSlayer.com. With nearly 2/3 of the NHL regular season in the books, nobody really expected the Bruins to be this far ahead and on a record pace in the standings. One major reason for Boston's success has been another of this season's biggest surprises, the dominating play of goalie Linus Ullmark. I'm Boomer Esiason.
CBS Sports Radio.
What does it feel like to file with TaxSlayer and get your guaranteed maximum refund? It feels like the last level of a video game, facing off against the final boss who stands between you and your refund.
All your refund has belonged to me.
Using the power of TaxSlayer like a secret power-up he doesn't see coming.
Only the most tax confident can defeat me.
Throwing your laptop at his video game face and watching him crumble into a giant pile of shiny coin tax refunds.
Oh, not fair. You use TaxSlayer.
Start for free and get your guaranteed maximum refund. TaxSlayer. File fearlessly.
Get in the zone. AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone, America's #1 brakes destination. We have the pads, rotors, drums, shoes, and brake fluids to improve your stopping power. Right now, save 15% when you get any 2 Duralast rotors with a set of Duralast brake pads. Missing a tool? Ask about our free Loan-A-Tool program and borrow the tools you need to get the job done.
Get in the zone. AutoZone.
Claim based on data from the MPD Group 2021. Deposit required for Loan-A-Tool.
Sponsored by Mattress Firm. Mattress Firm's President's Day sale is here. Shop and save up to $500 on Tempur-Pedic adjustable mattress sets. Plus, get a $300 instant gift, good towards sleep accessories. Find your dream bed at Mattress Firm. Then cozy up on your new bed, because there's nothing better than staying in.
Plus tax entitled with approved credit call 888-320-6359 for details.
I love Kia.
Now through President's Day, JT gives you a $500 Visa gift card with every new vehicle purchase. At JT's Kia, there are hundreds of new Kias. You'll fall head over wheels with a new Kia Sorento. Drive for just $219 a month. Has your credit heart been broken? When other dealers say no, JT says those 3 special words. Yes, yes, yes. Get a $500 Visa gift card with your new Kia now till President's Day. JT's Kia, Killian Commons Road, jtskia.com.
Hey, why not try something extreme and exciting this year, like Extreme Pogo? Woohoo! Going for the backflip! Or maybe something really adventuresome, like wingsuit flying. Tree! Or maybe just try eating extremely good pizza from the Mellow Mushroom Pizza Bakers. Hand-tossed, spring-water dough, fresh ingredients, all baked on the stone. Now that's exciting and extremely delicious. The Mellow Mushroom in the Vista and on Sunset in Lexington.
This is Larry Leitner, owner and founder of Midstate Roofing. And for nearly 30 years, we've continued to be the proven leader in the roofing and waterproofing industry. Midstate Roofing's proven history is your assurance that our professionals at Midstate Roofing will provide the proper advice, service, and results to the needs of your facility in a manner both safe and pleasing to your operation. From high-rise to hospitals, manufacturing to industrial, Midstate Roofing designs and installs bonded systems with a protective guarantee that will keep your operation dry and running long into the future. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
And this is Blake Leitner, reminding you to protect that roof with a maintenance contract. Call me today at 803-356-1919 or online at midstateroofing.com. That's midstateroofing.com.
You'll speak to an on-call technician after hours or a Midstate Roofing staff member during hours at 803-356-1919 or online at midstateroofing.com. And as always, Tell them, Mid-State Twins.
If you have a leak, let Mid-State Roofing take a peek.
Let's text entitled with approved credit call 888-411-7640 for details. Now through President's Day, JT's Dodgeland gives you a $500 Visa gift card with every new vehicle purchase. And Dodgeland's loaded with Rams at South Carolina's Truck Giant. New 2022 Bighorn Ram up to $11,000 off. Drive for just $349 a month. New Chargers and Challengers save $5,000 below MSRP. Credit concerns? JT is the man who says yes. Dodgeland on Greystone, jtsdodge.com. President's Day sales event.
SEC Women's Basketball Tournament is tipping off in Greenville, South Carolina, March 1st through 5th. Catch all the action as we crown a champion. For more information and to purchase your tickets, visit secsports.com. SEC Women's Basketball, it just means more.
1075 The Game traffic. Sponsored by the South Carolina Department of Corrections.
South Carolina Department of Corrections is hiring statewide with huge pay raises. Correctional officers can now make $50,000 plus in their first year. Officers must be at least 18 years of age. Visit joinscdc.com to apply.
WIS-TV First Alert Traffic on 1075 The Game.
And just a few slowdowns to make you aware of. Farrow Road at I-77. Also, Hardscrabble Road at Summit Parkway. Also have a report of an accident, Blackville Road at Highway 6 in Gaston. So things are starting to improve out on the highways. Forecast-wise, looking great for the next few days. Partly cloudy, 77 today. Some clouds tomorrow, 79 for the high. Then that rain comes in on Friday. And 67 will be our high. Right now, it's 43 at 107.5 The Game.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. This is 107.5 The Game.
Discover Herndon Certified. Herndon Chevrolet's premier used car warranty. Shop with complete confidence knowing Herndon Chevrolet has got you covered.
Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile.
The early game
With Bill Gunter, Preston Thorne, and Jen Jensen.
on your home of the Gamecocks.
107.5 The Game.
Reminder tonight, right after Heath Climb, you'll have Carolina Calls with South Carolina baseball coach Mark Kingston. Tomorrow night, you'll have Carolina Calls with South Carolina basketball coach Lamont Paris. And then following that, you will have the women's team hosting Florida, 6:30 pregame on WISW, 7 o'clock tip time, right here on 107.5 The Game. So we got plenty more for you. Here's where I'm at. And I want you two's opinion on this, because I look at this. We knew before Frank Martin was fired, right? That roster, if you fired Frank Martin, that roster was going to be decimated, right? Right, Heath? Last year, we knew that those guys were tied to Frank Martin and not the program.
It sure seemed that way, although you get the feeling maybe they didn't fully understand what they were doing when they pushed that button. But yeah, I mean, I think the perception generally was most of those guys were going to splinter, as they did.
Okay, so you knew that last March. You knew that really last February, maybe even before that. And obviously, as we got closer to the firing date, you knew that. And you look at it, Woodley, Levesque, obviously Brandon Martin followed him to UMass. Cousinard followed an assistant, Chuck Martin, to Oregon. Eric Stevenson, who I've watched and has been playing pretty good as late, went to a mentor for Frank Martin in Bob Huggins. So there were connections there for 6 of those guys. And then
Keyshawn Bryant went home.
Keyshawn Bryant just went home. And Devin Carter became the second player to transfer to Providence. I don't know if there's a connection there between Providence and Ed Cooley and Frank Martin. I have no clue. But the bottom line is we knew prior to firing Frank Martin what was going to happen. So you went into the offseason, even with the transfer portal and even with trying to get Gigi Jackson, you knew this year could be really rough. You couldn't have very high expectations. Now, maybe it wasn't, maybe they're below what you thought right now, 9-17 overall, 2-11. But here's where I ask, because Preston, you just said as we were going to break there, all right, these next 5 regular season games, and then what I'm going to assume is 1 tournament game, maybe 2. So I'll max out and say these next 7 games max. You said the key is to get them gelling, to get them coming together. I look at a big picture, man. You can't let this thing fall so far off the cliff. You're going to have a hard time in the transfer portal. You got 2 kids signed right now. Colin Murray Boyles is at least playing really good at the prep ranks right now, and maybe comes in as a guy that can help you. But I don't know how you juxtapose, all right, I got to fix something with G.G. Jackson, and if he doesn't start playing better, I bench him and I play for the future. Like, you've got to do something to generate some interest in your program so that the transfer portal, because I don't think it's about these next 7 games, that whether they gel or not. This thing is completely in flames if you can't have a good off season.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's any question. You're going to have to do way better in the transfer portal than you did last time. Now, this time, presumably, you will have known pretty much all season you're going to need to get some guys out of that portal. So there's that. And maybe you have better chances to make some connections. Lord knows you'll have the opportunity to say, we have opportunities for playing time. You know, in a lot of ways, we've talked about the idea for South Carolina in football that maybe where they can kind of create their own little brand is being the place that takes guys like Juice Wells, really talented players, if for whatever reason maybe fell through the cracks originally or lower level, bring those kind of kids into the SEC, give them that opportunity to play. Maybe that'll be where they can make some real headway in the portal, since they seem to have had a pretty good knack for finding those kind of kids at places like Georgia Southern and whatnot. Maybe you can be that for some kids. They're talented kids, a level better than the Citadel with Hayden Brown, but maybe not Power 5. Maybe you can find a niche there. I don't know. But yeah, they're going to have to get some kids out of the portal. The thing that blows my mind, guys, is I am not surprised that the record is bad. I don't think any of us are. What I can't understand is how in the world are you this horrible at home and away from home you can play? They got 2 wins on the road in SEC play. They've got 2 overtime games on the road in SEC play. At home, they've lost by double digits 6 out of 7 times. Most of the time, they get destroyed in the first half. I mean, last night, they're down 20 to Vandy. You took this team to overtime in their building. You're down to 20, down 20 against them. You're more than doubled up in the first half in your own building. I mean, like, what exactly is going on here that this team, it's like they're actively trying to repulse their own fans. It's like an Andy Kaufman act. I am intentionally trying to alienate you people as a comedic performance style. Andy Kaufman basketball is not a good idea.
Yeah, because if something happens on the road, it's like we don't know. But when we can actually see it in person, people can see this thing, this product that's not being good. That's you're right. That's not where you want to do your best. There was a statistic at one point they had not held the lead in Colonial Life Arena. Now I guess
It's like 160 minutes of SEC play.
That has changed, I'm assuming.
They finally got the lead early in, I think, their 4th or 5th game of the year. But I mean, it's wild. I mean, other than Arkansas, they have not given their fans a single really watchable game at home all year in the SEC. And it's so weird because think about it, guys. At the beginning of the year, you beat Clemson at home. You could win at home, and then when you went away, even as basic as going away down to the Charleston Classic or going over to Greenville, as soon as you left Colonial Life, things went bad. And now, as soon as you leave home, you got a shot. Come back. Forget it, man. Just try and keep it single digits. Make it, if you're lucky. I mean, for Pete's sake, the next time they walk into that building, it's Alabama.
Yeah. And
Alabama
just beat Vanderbilt a couple weeks ago by, again, I think it was 101-44 was the final score. Preston, I want to go back to the transfer portal. In your day, or as a former player who's played college ball and fought for positions, if you're transferring up or you're transferring down, if you're a transfer, what would have you valued the most? Finding a truly competitive team? Now, this is Preston Thorne speaking, not speaking for all of college basketball transfers. Finding a competitive team, or like, man, I just sat the bench for like 3 years. I just want to play. Like, what do you think a transfer in this era would find more attractive? Like, all right, I'm willing to go give up 10 or 12 because here's I'll give the example. Malachi Smith could have transferred here and played 40 minutes a night. The former Chattanooga player that played for Lamont at Chattanooga last year was the big time player. He could have played 40 minutes a night. I'll look real quick. I don't think he's averaging, but like 28, 22 or 18, somewhere in that ballpark for Gonzaga right now. But he's on a competitive team that's got a chance to win a national championship. What would you, if he comes here and plays 40 minutes a night, maybe he's showcasing his NBA skills.
Yeah, this is the blanket statement. Every situation is different, right? We get that. However, this is going to Heath's point. This is when you as a program have to sort of become a destination for people so they can know what they're getting when they go there. So if you know you're transferring to South Carolina, maybe you know, hey, this is a place where you can get a lot of minutes if you haven't gone it. Or maybe it's a place where, like I said, you might not play as many minutes, but you're going to be at Gonzaga and you're going to be competitive. Right now, the team doesn't really have an identity, so it's hard to ask somebody to come somewhere where they don't know exactly what they're getting.
And that goes back to the choice that was made to hire somebody in Lamont Paris that had been doing it effectively for 5 years, but had not been recruiting high-level talent, nor does he have anybody on his staff that has recently been recruiting high-level talent. And so you put those things together, it didn't make for the best recipe for the transfer portal. I don't know. I don't know if they have the answer this year, but I do know this. Fans are not going to be patient with the second year of this. The facts are people got bored with Frank Martin, felt like winning 10 or so in the SEC more often than not the last few years, 9 or 10 games in the SEC, but not making the tournament wasn't good enough. They are not going to sit back and say, well, now I understand I got to deal with winning 3 or 4 in the SEC for 3 or 4 years to get back to where I originally was bored in the first. They're not going to do it. And so this is part of the problem with getting a guy like Gigi Jackson. The people who are already cynical, the people who either didn't like the hire in the first place or have seen stuff this year that's already turned them off too much, they now can throw in your face, you got the number 1 player and you ruined his season. He didn't have a great experience and you went nowhere. Why should I ever believe you'll get anybody? Is that fair? People don't care about being fair. People want their team to win. And man, next year, reasonable people shouldn't be putting giant expectations on next year. But if it looks anything like this, I don't know how seriously you can get a year 3. I think you're going to get to a point where it gets toxic and you can't do it.
803-404-6100. Obviously, here's the bad thing about this. You hope it changes. There's still about 4 weeks of this. I'm not being funny. Like,
but there's good news. They're on the road for the next game. It's LSU. They got a great shot. They might be favored in the next game. Who knows?
803-404-6100. We'll come back. We'll get into that SEC discussion in terms of scheduling.
I just asked, has anybody ever been on a losing team? If you've been on a losing team, you know
it's hard.
It's going to be tough to turn the ship around.
I'm a Cubs fan and a Bears fan. Hello.
Yeah, it's tough.
It actually all went downhill, I think, when Jen moved to town, now that I think about it. South Carolina was on a gravy train with biscuit wheels, and then it all fell off. You know that reference? You're a movie guy. I got like 6 movie references in me, but that's one of them.
I feel like I've heard about it.
And it's obscure a little bit. Kingpin. It's Kingpin. Gravy train
there we
with
go.
biscuit wheels. 803-404-6100. All right, now I'm down to I got friends.
He can remember that stuff. He can't remember, to do a giveaway or to remember to record things. Can't remember to this, that, or the other
Priorities.
show. But boy, man, he's quick with the movie references. He has that.
I've only got like 4 of them in my wheelhouse, so it's pretty easy. 803. Okay. And most of them are actually Toy Story or Shrek. So
the level of intelligence
couple Hotel Transylvania ones I can toss in here and there. We'll come back, get into this SEC scheduling because I want Preston and Heath's opinion on who should kind of dictate it. If you're paying money, maybe you should be the one. 803-404-6100, the early game. 107.5 The Game.
107.5 The Game on demand podcast menu.
Sponsored by Lexington Orthopedics and Sports Medicine.
If you're dealing with injuries or pain, our team is here to get you better sooner.
On the home of the Gamecocks, 107.5 The Game.
Let's text entitled with approved credit. Call 866-243-4623 for details. Now through President's Day, JT gives you a $500 Visa gift card with every new vehicle purchase at Jeep Dodge Ram. And if you're trying to reestablish credit, this is a perfect way to do it because JT has the power to say you're approved. Take advantage of the lowest prices on Jeeps right now, up to $7,500 off. Rams up to $11,000 off. Drive for just $349 a month. JT's Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram, 378 Lexington. JT'sJeep.com.
Locally owned Atlantic Windows and Doors has been making Columbia area homes more comfortable, attractive, weather-tight, and energy efficient for over 35 years. How? By distributing products from the best window and door manufacturers in the country. These products give you the best looks, the best quality, quality and the best value, all based on your specific needs. And everything is professionally installed by their dedicated and experienced employees, not subcontractors. Atlantic Windows and Doors. Visit them online at awdsc.com.
Breathe easier with Zerust Air Duct Cleaning. It's the only company I trust to get my home insanely clean. Right now, Mitch and me, Bill Gunner at 107.5 The Game, and you'll get $30 off your next air duct cleaning. Use promo code AIR30 when scheduling online at ZerustColumbia.com.
Love is in the air.
It's a brand new day.
Birds are singing duets together.
And squirrels are chasing each other across the treetops.
Everyone has a twinkle in their eye.
Boom, chicka-boom.
Don't let junk get in the way.
We make junk disappear.
All you have to do is point.
Call 1-800-GOT-JUNK.
And you'll be back to your old self again.
We've got magic in our fingertips.
And that's why everyone starts dancing.
Call 1-800-GOT-JUNK.
Or visit 1-800-GOTJUNK.com.
Washington led the revolution. Lincoln saved the nation. Now, Galliana Kia is making history with the best deals in years. Gotta go to Galliana. America loves a great deal, and Galliana Kia delivers new Kias with zip, zero, nothing down, and zero payments for the next 3 months. Plus, at Galliana Kia, we'll get you out of your current lease or loan, even if you're over mileage, have months left, or still owe thousands. Worried about your credit? Don't sweat it. If you've got a job and you make at least $2,000 per month, our lenders can get you approved. Don't make a car buying mistake. If you want a great deal without the hassle, gotta go to Galliana Kia on Greystone. I-126 Zoo Exit in Columbia. Call 779-7300 or KiaColumbia.com. Rio stock number 3K1107. $278 per month for 84 months at 6.9 APR. Price plus tax tag includes $225 closing fee. Negative trade equity financed in new loan subject to lender approval. Expires month end.
Heath here with the mortgage guru, Jacob Crowder from First Palmetto Bank. And if the new year has you building or buying a new home, you need a guru in this market. First Palmetto Bank is owned and operated here in the Midlands, and Jacob has local decision makers, which means quick and precise processing and underwriting. If you're looking to make a move, give Jacob a call, 803-719-1005, or email him at jcrowder@firstpalmetto.com.
Thanks, Heath. Interest rates have stabilized. The local housing market also has stabilized. Now is a good time to buy a house. At First Palmetto, we have products that help homebuyers keep payments down. Also, if you are considering building your future home, please ask me about our no-nonsense construction loans. The new year brings change, and if I can help you, please give me a call, 803-719-1005.
So to follow up, rates in the housing market are stable, which makes now a good time to buy.
I'd say that sums it up.
Great. Call Jacob Crowder today, 803-719-1005.
My NMLS number is 198432. First Palmetto Bank is a member of FDIC and any closing lender.
At Kroger, you'll find high-quality products at great prices in every aisle every day with Kroger brand. When you stock up on your household favorites for lower-than-low prices, it feels like winning. Shop now in-store or online. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Save more and earn rewards too. Use your digital coupons up to 5 times, plus earn double gaming rewards points on participating items. Restrictions apply.
What's up, Gamecock Nation? This is Spencer Rattler, here to tell you about the best South Carolina coverage out there at GamecockCentral.com. For a limited time, you could become a member and get access to all USC sports and recruiting information you want for a special deal. Head over to GamecockCentral.com now to become an insider and join the family.
Plus, text tags entitled with approved credit. Call 866-243-4623 for details. Thousands of people around the Midlands had their credit damaged during the pandemic. Now, as they attempt to reestablish credit, they find themselves being turned down. JT wants to help, and he has the power to say, you're approved. Take advantage of the lowest prices on Jeeps right now, up to $7,500 off. Rams up to $11,000 off. You can drive for just $349 a month and help your credit. JT's Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram, 378 Lexington, jtsjeep.com.
107.5 The Game traffic. Sponsored by the South Carolina Department of Corrections.
South Carolina Department of Corrections is hiring statewide with huge pay raises. Correctional officers can now make $50,000 plus in their first year. Officers must be at least 18 years of age. Visit joinscdc.com to apply.
WIS-TV First Alert Traffic on 107.5 The Game.
And we have several accidents to let you know about this morning. Shady Grove Road at Julius Richardson Road in Irmo, there is a tie-up there. Also, I-20 eastbound at Fairfield Road. There is some kind of a pothole that really is causing kind of an issue, so just be cautious around Fairfield Road there. Hardscrabble Road at Summit Parkway, we have a report of an accident. Also, I-20 westbound, just after Monticello Road, the 2 left lanes are currently blocked. I-20 at exit 65. So I-20 at Broad River Road, an injury accident. Major tie-up, I-26 eastbound at just before exit 91. We're getting a report that the interstate is currently blocked. Definitely find an alternate route if you can. Again, that's I-26 eastbound before exit 91. If you're going to want to find a workaround, it's not going to get you through there right now. Easy for me to say. Partly cloudy, 77 for the high today, 79 tomorrow. Rain coming in on Friday, 45 right now at 107.5 The Game.
What we're talking about on 107.5 The Game.
Sponsored by Love Chevrolet.
$8:40 on a Wednesday morning. Heath Line joining us as he does each and every Wednesday as we roll through, obviously, G.G. Jackson discussion, kind of overshadowing whatever may have happened in the basketball game last night. Anything you've missed, Jen puts up on her Twitter account, goes on our podcast page as well. You go to 1075thegame.com, click on the podcast page, or you can go to Jen's Twitter account at Jen Jensen Morse. Click there and listen to anything you heard. One thing I did want to get into a little bit this morning, because I saw this Andy Staples article, and it really got me kind of thinking, and it's gotten to the point where I will find out when we find out about who the 3 permanent opponents are. South Carolina's going to probably get Georgia. After that, I don't know.
Keep in mind, we don't even know for sure it's 3 yet. It
Sure,
could be 1.
I still just to preserve some rivalries so that Alabama can play Tennessee and Auburn, LSU, if you want to throw that one in there as well. Here's my question here. Disney, ABC, ESPN is paying a lot of money for this, because what stood out to me about this that I loved, I'm all for this, is and Heath, I know you read The Athletic a lot, and Andy Staples is a good buddy of yours, so I'm assuming you've seen this.
I have.
The one that jumped out to me, and Preston, I mentioned it earlier, was Florida and Oklahoma. Now, Florida's already screaming bloody murder about having to play LSU every year. They hate that. I don't know if it would make them happier to switch out LSU with Oklahoma. But it got me thinking, like, all right, if I'm the television networks, how much input, how much say, or do I dictate the particular matchups that I want for my network? Because I'm going to pay you all this money. Now, you're still getting a bunch of good ones. I know you got Alabama and Auburn and Alabama, LSU and all that, and you got Georgia and Florida. But these 2 new teams, Heath, how much say does ESPN Disney get on, I want, like, say, a particular Florida-Oklahoma matchup, or I want, Texas. I want Texas, and who's it got as their third here? I think it's got Arkansas.
Well, there's going to be a mix of all of it. I would say one thing, by the way, Florida's fine with LSU. LSU's the one that's complained about that series a bunch through the years, how unfair it is that they have to play Florida, although now that Florida's not very good anymore, they don't seem to be as worked up about that. But
understandable also because LSU has shoes thrown at them by Florida players. I wouldn't want...
whatever. There's some history there with that series. I don't think it's going to break Florida's heart for it to go away, but LSU's the one that's actually really complained about it a lot. But look, ideally you preserve rivalries if you have 3, because if it's 1, I think the Gamecocks are winding up with either Kentucky or Vanderbilt as their 1. Just because you look at it, the question would be for Tennessee, if they're going to pair them off with only 1 team, is it Tennessee, Kentucky, even though it's not in state, there's still some history there, or is it Tennessee, Vandy, because they're geographically located, in which case Gamecocks probably get Kentucky. But after that, if you go to 3, what are your priorities? Because again, some of these schools that want to keep it at 1, the reason they want to is because they want to have the easiest possible path to try and get to a bowl. And adding an extra SEC game makes life harder for the Mississippi schools, for example, for Kentucky to get to a bowl. So those are some of the schools that publicly come out and said, we don't want to go to 9, we want to go to 8. So where are your priorities then? If you're South Carolina, do you say, well, we got a lot of history with Georgia. We recruit a lot of talent out of the state of Georgia. We want that as a yearly game, even though, for obvious reasons, that's a very challenging game. We want that as an early game. Or if you're Shane Bieber and they're willing to serve you up, the poo-poo platter, whatever it is, of Vanderbilt and, we'll say Kentucky and Missouri, would you say, heck, sign me up, man. I want the easiest schedule I can get. I'm not going to get an easy schedule. It's still the SEC. But if you're telling me a third of my games can be that, sign me up. Where is each school's individual priority? Then where does the network input come in? And then you try and kind of meet in the middle on this stuff. If ESPN flat out says it is a deal breaker for us, it is essential for us that we have a game, could they get it? Probably. Do I think they're going to go to the mat that hard to say we want Florida, Oklahoma? Probably not. But if they found out we're thinking about it, they probably, yeah, that sounds good to us. We'd be okay with that.
Let me bring this one up to you. In terms of history, overall, I guess you'd go the last 25 years, Tennessee, Florida's been good. But even the last 10, Tennessee, Florida hadn't been the massive rivalry that it's been. I could do away with Tennessee, Florida. It's not Steve Spurrier and Philip Fulmer. It's not Peyton Manning and Danny Werfel anymore. That's not what it is. If you wanted to shake that up and go, you know what, we're going to put Tennessee and Texas, or Florida. You got Florida, Oklahoma. I'm going to put Tennessee and Texas because I like more of what Josh Heupel's doing. Here's the other part. I'll ask you both, and you can answer both of this question. I'll ask you first. And one thing Andy Staples says in here, don't be afraid to shuffle this group of three. And by the way, that's where I think they're going with this. Don't be afraid to shuffle this up in 6 or 8 years.
Yeah, I'm sorry. That was going to be my question. What does permanent mean? Permanent means for an amount of time, 4 or 5 years, and then we shuffle and see what's working. I agree with that, and I know the permanence is probably supposed to create or to maybe engender us to having some sort of rivalries naturally, or even trying to create some. But as Heath said, y'all can do whatever y'all want. We're still in the SEC, so we get to take cover of that. Give me the 3 easiest wins that I can get.
Heath, you know a lot of Florida people. Am I right on this? Would they want to keep if you said you get LSU or Tennessee or
Well, it depends on what you're replacing it with. Florida, Georgia has to stay.
Right.
That's the given. There's a lot of people down there that are still ticked off the Florida Auburn went away. There's a lot of history in that series, and it wound up when they changed things and how they did it. They said, well, we got to preserve Auburn, Georgia, and we got to preserve Auburn, Alabama. So we can't have them playing Florida on a regular basis anymore. There's a lot of people who'd like that back. Florida's closest geographic school to them in the SEC is Auburn, and they play like once every decade. So if you tell them you're losing Tennessee, but you're getting Auburn back, for example, they'd be all for that. Again, that's another thing too. If you're Shane Beamer, we talked about recruiting in the state of Georgia, but they hit Jacksonville in particular real hard. If you're Shane Beamer, you might say, hey, I want Florida. I want to make sure I keep Florida on the schedule, even though on paper, Florida might be a more dangerous opponent long-term than, say, a Missouri if they tried to give you them, or Kentucky. The thing I think is interesting too, Bill, you mentioned Oklahoma. I don't think anybody wants to deal with Oklahoma that's not one of those Texas schools or Arkansas, because nobody recruits Oklahoma. Everybody recruits Texas, or at least is interested in recruiting Texas. Very few people are looking to get into Oklahoma for recruiting. So I think if you're going to set up those matchups for TV, everybody's going to, well, then give me Texas then. Give me Texas or give me A&M. Don't give me Oklahoma. I get nothing out of Oklahoma.
Well, and Texas and Andy Staples obviously has Oklahoma. Red River rivalry will be preserved. They've obviously got Texas A&M, which is going back on the schedule. I'll ask you guys when we come back, your hire, who is in charge here? Is it the league, the coaches, and then the television network? The league, the network, the coaches? Because you talked about Shane Beamer and what Billy Napier might want. I'll ask you that when we come back. You're listening to The Early Game on 107.5 The Game.
Got a take?
Hit us up on the Firehouse Subs text line.
Firehouse Subs, founded by firemen.
803-404-6100.
On your home of the Gamecocks.
107.5 The Game.
This report is sponsored by FN America Careers.
Are you ready to join a high-caliber team? FN America is always looking for the best talent to design and build the most innovative firearms. We make world-class products to defend our nation in a friendly, rewarding, and engaging workplace. Explore your next career at fnamerica.com/careers.
Hi, my husband and I own a small business in Columbia, and we ended up needing some help with some tax problems that we had and needed to get resolved. We initially owed about $300,000, and John Ecton and his law firm ended up getting us an offer in compromise, which dramatically reduced the amount owed. I would personally recommend the Ecton law firm. They did an excellent job for us, and if this is a concern that you're facing, they're definitely the people you should call.
It's great to know we have changed people's lives for the better. Hi, this is local attorney John Ecton with the Ecton Law Firm. For over a decade, our office has been dedicated to helping hardworking individuals and businesses solve tax problems for good. So if you have years of unfiled tax returns or are facing IRS wage levies, bank levies, or tax liens, call our office today at 771-9800 or go to EctonLawFirm.com. That's ECTON lawfirm.com. Let's get your tax problem solved for good. Call today. You'll be glad you did.
Don't you just want to sit back, relax, and breathe fresh, clean air in your home? You'd be surprised by the amount of dust and bacteria that's sitting in your duct system and circulating in your home. Zerorest is the only company I trust to get my home insanely clean. Right now, mention me, Bill Gunner, at 1075 The Game, and you'll get $30 off your next air duct cleaning. Use promo code AIR30 when scheduling online at zerorestcolumbia.com.
Spectrum Business is the no-nonsense way for small businesses to stay connected with fast, reliable internet service and Spectrum Business Connect, the all-in-one app to make calls, host video conferences, and send texts. Connect to customers from any device, anywhere. Get both and get one mobile line free for 1 year. No contracts, no hidden fees, no nonsense. Just business. Visit spectrum.com/business today. Restrictions apply. Services not available in all areas.
Let's text entitled with proof credit call 888-411-7640 for details. Now through President's Day, JT's Dodgeland gives you a $500 Visa gift card with every new vehicle purchase. And Dodgeland's loaded with Rams at South Carolina's Truck Giant. New 2022 Bighorn Ram up to $11,000 off. Drive for just $349 a month. New Chargers and Challengers save $5,000 below MSRP. Credit concerns? JT is the man who says yes. Dodgeland on Greystone, jtsdodge.com. President's Day sales event.
At the Samuels Reynolds Law Firm, we know how serious injuries change people's lives. I'm Jason Reynolds. When you're involved in a major car or truck accident, my team is on your side. You don't have to be alone. Let's do this together.
And I'm Stephen Samuels. When you're hurt at work, my team is with you from start to finish. We're people with a passion for helping injured workers. Bring your case to us and stop the worrying. We've got this.
Samuels Reynolds. True injuries, true lawyers. 803-779-4000.
SEC Women's Basketball Tournament is tipping off in Greenville, South Carolina, March 1st through 5th. Catch all the action as we crown a champion. For more information and to purchase your tickets, visit SECsports.com. SEC Women's Basketball, it just means more.
At Firehouse Subs, a portion of every purchase helps provide life-saving equipment to first responders. They make their subs differently because their subs can make a difference every day. That's why they're bringing back their daily medium sub special for just $7.99. Enjoy a different handcrafted medium sub at a special price every single day of the week. Like today's Wednesday special, the New York Steamer sub for just $7.99. Get it for a limited time only at Firehouse Subs and order now with the Rapid Rescue at firehousesubs.com.
1075 The Game traffic. Sponsored by the South Carolina Department of Corrections.
South Carolina Department of Corrections is hiring statewide with huge pay raises. Correctional officers can now make $50,000 plus in their first year. Officers must be at least 18 years of age. Visit joinscdc.com to apply.
WIS-TV First Alert Traffic on 1075 The Game.
Our Scrabble Road at Summit Parkway, we have a report of an accident there. Also, I-20 westbound just after Monticello Road. 2 left lanes are blocked. We have an injury accident, I-20 there at Broad River Road. And then the major tie-up this morning, I-26 eastbound just before exit 91. So around 89 or so. The interstate is currently blocked due to that incident. Again, that's I-26 eastbound around exit 89. The interstate blocked, so certainly makes other arrangements and find an alternate route. Partly cloudy, 77 today. Right now, 45. 107.5 The Game.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. This is 107.5 The Game.
A great selection of new Chevys is available now at Herndon Chevrolet. The lot is packed with inventory and more is on the way. So shop your hometown Chevy dealer today.
Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile. The Early Game with Bill Gunter.
Former Gamecock Preston Thorne.
And Jen Jensen on your home of the Gamecocks.
107.5 The Game.
Yeah.
We made it through almost the whole episode. We'll see. Jen's been busy back there, but no Luke Bryan or no Imagine Dragons.
I respect him.
Okay, so then we'll get Heath Line back again next Wednesday, each and every week.
No Imagine Dragons. That's terrible. Don't do that.
If you were to be stuck in the elevator, you're going up to the 19th floor, and you get stuck for 6 hours, Luke Bryan or Imagine Dragons?
There's the door. I'll get out. I'll find my way. I've watched enough Bruce Willis movies. I can find my way through the ceiling of that thing.
Actually, you just gave him motivation to get out of the elevator.
I now have motivation to somehow bring down the or to stop the elevator like in between floors. Actually, might be a good reality show to stick Heath in an elevator. You've got 1 hour until Imagine Dragons starts playing. How do you get out of the elevator?
It's bad. Don't do that. It's bad. Bad music. Don't do that.
Real quick, who has the highest say, SEC or television? Do you think you're going SEC?
Well, in the end, the contract is signed, so they only have so much sway. It's not like they can say, "Well, if you don't give us the money, then or if you don't give us these games, we aren't going to give you the money." Now they're trying to get them to give them more money,
right?
So you could say, put it on the table. How much exactly is it worth it to you? And then you try and strike the balance. Again, ideally you're trying to keep all your constituents as happy as they can be while also making the max bread. And I find it hard to believe ESPN is going to just draw a line in the sand on anything. So find that middle ground where it is. But I just want to know how many programs have competing agendas here. How many, if the Kentucky and Mississippi schools and maybe some other schools wanted to stay at 8 in the first place, are they going to say, okay, well, then if you're going to make us go to 9, you've got to give us a tissue soft schedule to make up for the fact that you're giving us 9. So you got to make sure that the rotation is such that we don't wind up with, on top of the 3, you can't give us Bama and LSU and Georgia in the same year. How many different versions of that are there going to be, and how do you strike the balance?
We'll continue talking about this as we kind of go through. Heath, you think it'll still be a while before we...
Yeah, Sankey said that the SEC meetings in Destin, which are Memorial Day week, that would be the latest. I would be surprised if we knew anything before April at the earliest, just based on how many different agendas there are here. But that's kind of the tentative deadline, it sounds like.
Preston, who pouted the best today? I kind of go with York. Big stick, just going into the woods, swatting bushes.
I was laughing at my image of sullen jerk Heath Klein turning on the Smiths or something like that, and just sort of his bangs flowing over his hair, and he's just
bangs. Don't I wish I had bangs at any point, man? I had the receding, crappy hairline forever. I could never do anything with my hair.
He looked like Gru, little tiny Gru.
Just teenage Heath just can't take this world anymore.
Yeah, I'm going York's. Taking his favorite stick into the woods and just swatting at bushes. That seems to be the way to do it.
For the record, though, the Smiths were really good. See?
Yeah, absolutely.
Much better than Imagine Dragons.
Absolutely.
They're not playing the Super Bowl halftime show, though.
No.
Can't get the Smiths these days. Hard to book them.
Oh, if you want 2 weeks of just pure pouting Heath, book Imagine Dragons for Vegas next year. That'll get you doing. Man, I always appreciate you coming by. Glad we kept punk rock Heath to a limit today. Preston, we'll talk to you tomorrow. You're on the road, but we'll catch up with you. And Jen,
sir.
Way to pout today. We'll be back tomorrow.
WNKT FM Eastover, Columbia, your home of the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game, a Cumulus media station.
Let's text section with proof credit call 866-243-4623 for details. Now through President's Day, JT gives you a 500.
Hold on. Everybody have a great day. We will talk to you first thing in the morning. Here, we'll get our quick Heath glimpse in. There you go. I'm looking at you. Yeah, well, perfect. All right. Later. It wasn't supposed to be bad.